Good evening, humans and other sentient creatures. Welcome to the Worlds Collide Twitch channel. We've got a race tonight for week 2 of the Spells and Ladders ladder event. I am Jackamus Wedge. I am joined tonight by Cowront. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well. I'm happy to be back in the booth after a bit of an absence, so it's good to be back, and I'm glad to be a part of what looks like a very exciting race with our competitors tonight.
Yeah, it should be good times. We've got 4 players being featured this week out of everyone in the ladder. So we've got Shadow Sid up on the top left, Saber Wolf Gaming on the top right, the runner-up from the Coliseum tournament, Doesn't on the bottom left, and on the bottom right, Kiel Basiago, whom we affectionately refer to as Sausage.
I hadn't heard that one until earlier today, so I am still enjoying that little revelation. But we are getting ready to get started as our runners are getting themselves into place. You see, we have ourselves a 6-character 10 Esper lineup here. So generally pretty close to standard. The settings are also pretty much what we would consider to be standard with the progress times 2. So every Esper or character that they grab will increase the enemy's levels by 2. And they start out with 3 characters, so they're going to have half of that already. Other than that, do you have any other flags that come to mind that stand out?
Well, new as of version 0.9.2, which is what we're playing, you can start with a few extra things you wouldn't necessarily have. So tonight our racers are starting with an extra Warpstone Phoenix down and a random tool for their tool user.
Yeah, that can definitely come in handy. I like having the warp stone because that will help incentivize some usually meteor checks that you can just go ahead and dance out of. And then of course if you get a really good tool, then and well, if you have a tool user, then that can actually give you a pretty good advantage early on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Get a drill or an air anchor and you're set for most of the game right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I will admit, I still got to work on air anchor strats, if you will, I suppose, because I generally didn't use that very much when I played the game originally. But the drill definitely is worth its weight in whatever material it's made of.
It's made of drillium.
Well, all right then, it's worth its weight in drillium.
There we go. Yeah, air anchor, definitely a nice tool, but I mean, it's you're picking from a pool of 8 different tools. You might get something less desirable, like an auto crossbow, for example.
And it took the randomizer for me to realize just how bad the auto crossbow is because I used it a ton when I played the regular game and never really learned any better, I guess.
Well, the game's designed around the auto crossbow carrying you through the first, I don't know, fifth of the game or so, and then it falls off a cliff.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, at any rate, we have ourselves quite the selection of racers this evening. We've got a number of very astute members of the community, so I think it's going to be a grand old time, and we should be fairly close to getting started. So definitely the adrenaline's rising and everybody's getting excited.
Yep, 30-second warning has been given, so they'll be underway momentarily. You see a couple cursors moving around, just making sure the controllers are working before we get underway here. Also, I would like to thank It's Naku for subscribing to the channel here for 4 months. Thanks, It's Naku. You have done well.
Absolutely. And a quick shout out before we get started to Ceiling Cat and Brianna Fofana. Brianna is doing both the restreaming and the tracking this evening, as well as Ceiling Cat. Both of them are tracking our Forerunners, so definitely much obliged and appreciate you joining me in the booth, Jack. So I think we're about to get underway and have ourselves a grand old time.
No, you're joining me in the booth.
All right, so Strago, Sabin, and Shadow as our first characters. So that'll open up, especially Sabin opens up a metric ton of checks.
Sabin with lore and that magic. Shadow's got a jump. Oh, you start with Grand Train. We're going to be seeing a lot of that today, I predict.
Yeah, just a little. Just a little.
So Shadow Sid's heading right to the returners to loot some treasure chests. Nothing particularly exciting. Treasure chests in Narsh for Dozenty. Experience Egg, that is a huge find early on. Sausage picking up that Experience Egg as well. Saberwolf heading straight to the free check at Gao's dad's house. Gonna check the item shop.
Yeah, that XP egg in Narsh is a particularly nice find early on.
Yeah, gonna gain some extra levels on a character of their choice. I'm assuming it's going to be Sabin because of Grand Train, but we'll see what Doesn't and Sausage both decide on.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like we have earrings early on, which we can put to pretty decent use on your magic users. Nothing super exciting though on the accessory front just yet. I see Saberwolf has made his way into South Figaro to loot it of all of its treasures. See if anything is particularly pops out at that point.
Keep an eye on that as Shadow Sid picks up the Starlit Magicite. Doesn't right behind Sid as well. Going to pick that one up as well. Sausage is going to have a peek inside the training room. And all there is in that one chest is a Magus hat. Nothing spectacular at all.
Ruh-roh. Well, chat's mentioning an announcer battle. Well, if it's an announcer battle, I'm very rusty, so I'm afraid I may end up losing that one.
And I'm too proud to let you win.
Well, there you go. It's settled. GG, Jack.
Long walk for Saberwolf, but the item in that barrel was a Blizzard Orb. Actually pretty useful, since it has some elemental resistance on it.
Yeah, that's definitely good. I'm not sure I was aware of that, actually, so I appreciate the advice. I'll hang on to it just in case I find an Umaro, because it can definitely be useful, if nothing else, just as a utility, since it hits everything, and if you're not going against anything that resists cold, you've got a pretty decent AoE, especially if you get it early on.
It's not too bad for sure, and Umaro naturally has high stats, so it can hit pretty hard early on at the very least.
Yeah.
Well, a Genji helm sitting around in South Figaro, so there's some money. And looks like Dozenty's going to pick up consumables. Typically you want to have a few random status cures just in case. Bucket of Phoenix Downs, maybe some potions, and ideally a few warp stones.
Yeah, warp stones, smoke bombs if you happen to, especially since we have Strago as one of our checks, or as one of our characters, you could conceivably grab some smoke bombs, maybe make that burning house a little bit faster if you'd like.
Yeah, perhaps. Sometimes it might be better to fight the battles, gain some early experience, but we'll see what happens and where everyone elects to go. There's a Mega Elixir in the basement, so typically racers are going to save that as a counter for Fallen 1, but elixirs exist to be used. If you find yourself into trouble, it's a nice get-out-of-jail-free card.
Absolutely, yeah. And it also saves you from having to worry about spending who knows how much amount of money, probably around 30k or so, to buy one for yourself.
They're quite expensive. They're
Yeah.
usually in the 50 to 60K range.
Oh man, so the seat I was running earlier today had them pretty cheap then. Yeesh.
Prices vary, after all.
Chat asking if there's a timer. Well, we don't have one on screen at the moment, but I do have access to the race room. So whenever racers do finish, we will be able to get you official times for them so that you can be edified accordingly. But appreciate you asking, definitely.
We'll keep you posted. Don't
Yep.
worry about that.
Yep. All
As we're
right.
Heading into to Zen. I'm gonna check the merchant at the back, the little thief in the woods there. Only 20K for a good item. It is not an Esper in this case.
Yep.
Saber's gonna go loot the disappointing classroom.
Oh
Genji
well.
glove. There was a Genji glove in the prison in the basement, so Shadow Sid should be picking that up soon. Could be quite nice if we find some decent weapons.
Yeah. Of course, even though the classroom's disappointing, as the saying goes in the community, every treasure chest you don't open is an Illumina, so...
I suppose so.
Yeah.
Just marble shoes from the merchant in the woods there. Very nice relic, but not exactly progression or a damage booster, which is usually the primo accessories most of the time.
True. I believe I did, however, I believe I saw flame shields on sale in Zen's armor shop. About a little under 40K, so not exactly cheap, but still, there they are.
If you amass some gold, could pick up a few of those. Put Merton spell into play if that ends up getting discovered.
Yep. Speaking of stats I'm not brave enough to try. I understand, of course, if you could...
The item's about 40K in World of Ruin Zen, where Sausage is right now. So there's a Sabin check there going through the burning house.
Yep.
Get some loot and help out this poor little imp trying to hold up a house all by itself.
Well, it's a very strong imp. They've definitely been doing their squats.
Be wearing all the imp gear.
Yeah, exactly.
Sausage fiddling around with equipment a bit here, trying to see if there's any way to get some damage started and get some fighting going. Curious place to be futzing around with equipment inside of a timed area, but maybe thinking going to try a monster in a box or two.
Looks like it's at least trying a regular encounter in here. You definitely don't see that terribly often.
Not a bad encounter, be some decent experience, but might be a little too for a level 3 party.
Yep. That is kind of the unfortunate thing about starting out with 3 characters. Of course, they have an Esper there, so the monsters are scaled up to level 8, which I found out from experience on my practice seed earlier today that can hit a little hard. And so, unfortunately, Kilbasiago got the wrong end of that one.
Will happen. Yeah, usually safe to just try a couple battles on the world map until you find something you can beat. Get a few early levels, get your party on its feet, and then you'll be ready for some of the tougher challenges the game throws at you.
Yeah, I generally find a good place if you're going to do that sort of thing is, well, either in Balance or Ruin Narsh, because you've got relatively quick access to some encounter areas in both of those, and you also have pretty quick access to healing, so grab a battle, get some levels. If it takes you down too hard, run off to get healed and then come back, or whatever you choose to do.
Yep. And the reward from the collapsing house was the Esper Shoat.
Oh, that can come in handy depending on what spells are associated with it. I don't know if we've seen any of the runners look to particularly at the spells that they have just yet.
A quick peek at the Starlit Esper. I think it had Fire 2 on it, if I read correctly. It was very in and out. Well, nothing too exciting on Shoat, unfortunately.
Oh well, c'est la vie.
C'est la vie, indeed. Does indeed, just now noticing he's got himself access to Grand Train.
Yeah. Well, have fun. Well, at least until you get the magic points to cast that. Then once you do, have a much better fun, I suppose.
Saberwolf checks the armor shop and sees some red caps for sale. So I'm assuming some stuff's going to go out of the inventory and a few red caps are going to come in. Probably the best overall hat since it gives you a ton of extra hit points on the character.
Yeah, that's definitely something you're going to want at all. But particularly if you happen to find somebody who has a Valiant knife or somebody who can use one, that of course will make it even better.
Sure can.
Also, just in case anybody is curious about where we are time-wise, we should be at around 11 minutes, given when the race officially started.
Sid's found some Apparites, so those will be pretty easy prey here. Fortunately, they do like to imp up your dudes, which can be a bit of a nuisance. And if you're willing to burn a Revivify or a Phoenix down, you can one-shot them since they're undead.
Well, I was going to say, it certainly helped with what Sid was doing, that the same character got imped twice, so Shadow got unimped, de-imped, whatever you'd say.
Yep. One of the two there. So it's going to be show at Esper for doesn't. Shadow Sid going to hop back into the training room to heal up. Probably fight another battle or two and gain some levels. Sausage is inside the Imperial camp. Say hello to Kefka, the first time we're seeing him tonight.
Hello, Batty.
Saberwolf doing a little bit more shopping here. Sausage going for the out-of-the-way chest. It's just a heavy shield.
Well, at least Shadow can equip it, so there's that. Also, did I just see an Excal?
Yeah, Excalibur was in the other chest there, so
Okay.
It's a weapon.
Oh, it's rare the game that you would look at the word Excalibur and go, eh.
Yeah, absolutely. Sid loots the treasure room in Narsh, so Sid's got the experience egg now as well. Doesn't he doing a little bit of selling here? Not sure exactly what Doesn't he's got his eye on, but we'll find out in a moment. As Saberwolf also heads over to the Imperial camp.
Oh, hello.
Well, it's a Valiant knife, so yeah, good pickup for Doesn't there in World of Balanced Zen.
Interesting.
Very potent weapon.
Oh, absolutely. I saw that flame shield. I must have missed when he checked the weapon shop, so shame on me, I suppose.
Well, it happens. And doesn't he off to the Imperial camp as well? Pretty much all our racers focusing on the Sabin checks. They tend to be much quicker than, Strago's checks as a given. Those are all pretty slow and pretty awful.
Yeah. It's understandable, especially considering you've got 3 of the 7 checks pretty much right next door to each other, because you've got Imperial Camp, you've got the Forest, and then you have Barren Falls, so just lump all those together.
Oh, look at that. Everyone's going to be picking up Best Girl early on here.
Hello! Speaking of having a lot of checks available.
Yep. Checks and treasure, got to love it. And usually one of the best characters in combat, too.
Yep.
So we've got a nastier encounter here for Shadow Sid outside of Narsh. This Ogre enemy loves to use zombie attacks, but did proc a stop off of the stunner, so won't have to worry about that at least.
Ooh, that's nice, yeah. Definitely good to see.
You can see that there is some variance in the battles inside of the Imperial camp. So we're seeing Saberwolf fighting a Magitech armor, whereas Doesn't he got the same pack of monks and hornets that Sausage got. Shadow Sid has a very tired party right now.
Well, fortunately, the mysterious goat thingy is ready to wake them up. What is that thing anyway?
It's a really gross frog. The thing that comes? I have no idea what it is.
No, yeah, I was gonna say, Wartpuck is that poor thing.
So we got a Mega Armor for Sausage here. That unique enemy from the banquet.
Also, Shadow Sid, unfortunately, is having a bit of a rough time with this Wartpuck because Wartpuck's deciding, oh, congratulations, none of you get experience from this battle. Have fun.
Yeah, that's less than ideal when you're going out of your way to grind a couple early levels.
Yeah.
Well, Terra has Dance. Dance can be a pretty powerful command. Depending on the way the moves line up, you get a good powerful move like Landslide in the top slot. Well, you're going to be doing just fine with Dance until you find something perhaps a little bit more reliable.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like he's going to go ahead, Kilbasa, and put Starlet on Terra, get her learning some stuff.
Get that Fire 2 spell. I mean, she is the most potent caster in the party right now. Fire 2 is not going to hit as hard as a Grand Train, mind you, but it's certainly a start.
Yeah, it's nothing to shake a stick at, that's for sure.
Yeah, and Sausage immediately off to the sealed gate, as basically any racer in the world will do the moment you find Terra, because there's a whole ton of treasure!
For the low, low price of just about a minute or two.
Oh, it doesn't take very long to open up 15 treasure chests down here.
Yeah, true. Especially when you pull stuff like a ribbon out of it. Yeah, you're going to definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, nothing particularly interesting down there, but there are enough items that should sell for over 10k, so could be able to buy something nice. Maybe Sausage will find those Valiant knives for sale later.
Yeah, certainly. And I kind of get the feeling that Doesn't might end up going back and buying another one once he gets enough money to get because we've already seen Genji gloves, so get Genji gloves and a couple of Valiant knives off, and it's pretty much off to the races.
Yep, it is on.
I've mentioned this before on one of the other broadcasts that I did, but until I started racing this randomizer, I had no idea that Valiant knives were as good as they were, because I didn't really appreciate just how much their damage scaled up with the fact that they scale up courtesy of you losing certain percentages of your HP.
Yeah, there's a lot of weapons in this game that on paper don't look good because it's pretty rare for an item description in this game to tell you what the weapon actually does. You'll just look at the raw stat and go, oh, it doesn't have as much attack as this Excalibur, it must be worse. When it's like, no, it's way better. It does something cool.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely a tribute to how much I've learned as I've been a part of this community that I now know a few more things. So definitely much obliged to everybody in the Worlds Collide community for helping out with that.
Sausage picked up a hero ring in the secondary treasure room in the sealed gate. Hero ring, basically the all-purpose increase your damage accessory that you want on all your guys at all times.
Yep. Because I believe that increases both your magic and physical by, I think it's, 25%?
Physical by 50 and magic by 25.
Okay. Okay, so I got one of the two correct. And Kilbasiago picking up Crusader as the sealed cave check, and I rather get the feeling that because we've got 3 of our 4 characters going through that area, and I get the feeling that Sid will be there very soon as well.
Well, Sid did just pick up Best Girl as well, so you have to imagine that's going to be the play here. Now Sausage just deciding where to head next. Looks like it's going to be World of Balance to Zen. So Sausage checks that weapon shop, gonna be in business. And also experience eggs for sale in the relic shop, so a lot of really nice stuff in this town.
Oh yes, absolutely. Zen has the goods, to borrow a phrase from the free enterprise community.
Basically, buy an experience egg, shoot your levels into the stratosphere, and go to town with those valuable Valiant knives.
Yep. Never you mind about progress. You will make the progress. The progress will not make you in any way.
Yeah, definitely. Does indeed finish with the cave, picks up Crusader. Shadow Sid just entering the cave now, so fairly close between all four right now. Pretty much we've seen the exact same progression all across the board. Sausage looking at those flame shields, but there's something better in the weapon shop.
Yep. And held on to that money, and now I think we're going to have another fire sale, so to speak,
Yep.
to be able to get that Valiant knife. And there goes the ribbon. Hello, Valiant knife. Have fun.
We're slashing prices. Everything must go.
Sell, sell, sell!
Crusader had Ice 2 on it, so another level 2 spell. Not too bad. You see what I did there?
Har har. That, I'm not sure if that was too good of a joke, but I'll let chat decide.
My jokes are always the best.
Alright, sure, we'll go with that.
Yep, definitely. Alright, so Sausage off to the returner's house. It's time to go raft the river. Usually a pretty good choice early on. I mean, there's forced battles, but that just means more experience for your dudes.
Yep.
And Dusty has Sabin set up with dual Valiant knives, and also has a Valiant knife on Terra, because why not?
Yeah. Oh, so we're... I mean, the Valiant knives are, of course, good early, but the longer the seed goes and the better levels you got, the better that thing gets, so... It's going to be loads of fun, I think, trying to, or as the characters get this going.
Well, Dusty is going to go have a leap of faith down a waterfall, while Kiel Basso, screw it, let's call him Sausage, it's easier, is on the river. Got a number 128 for Dusty. Don't think it's going to pose much of a problem here.
Nah, not particularly, especially since, as you mentioned, he does have 3 of those Valiant knives going, so... And the 128 is going to be at level 14, if math on stream is accurate. So, it may pose a bit of a threat, but yeah, shouldn't be too terribly bad.
Exactly. And little does 128 know, his attacks only make Dusty that much stronger. Saberwolf will be the last player to check the Narsh treasury and pick up the free experience egg.
Found a nice red jacket hiding in the clock, or finding in a clock, so not too bad.
No, the red jacket is great. It resists fire. Elemental resistances are good.
Yep. Especially since you have so many enemies wanting to use those spicy attacks to try to get themselves Kentucky Fried characters. We definitely don't want that.
No, I don't think we do. Well, an old man washes up on the shore, and what does he find? Shiva Magicite for doesn't. Sausage experimenting around with dance. One nice thing about dance in the rando, you can actually check in your character's menu what all the moves are on any given dance.
Makes sense, actually. Now that you mentioned that, I hadn't thought about doing that before. I will have to do that on Practice Stage 2.
Nice proc from a Wing Edge, takes out one of those high-level goblin enemies for Shadow Sid, who is on the way to the floating continent. Sausage still on the raft ride. Saber Wolf still buying a few things inside Narsh, and doesn't he? I saw land in front of Mount Colts. Saber Wolf's off to battle the Welk. And going to be rewarded with a Yeti, assuming Saber Wolf can defeat this octopus and get no experience points.
Yep. Too bad. So sad. Chupon's not a lad. What is Chupon?
I don't even know what Chupon is. It's this flying, two-faced thing.
Yeah. Well, I remember hearing folks talking about what Ultros and Chupon were originally supposed to be. It's supposed to be Orthros and I forget what else. Typhon, yeah. But still all the same, freaky. Chupon is just freaky. Weird. Odd,
I think
crazy.
he's got like it looks like on the sprite he has like those pipes on old trains that shoot steam out on him.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the smokestack. Well, doesn't finding himself the leader of, well, not much of anything up here on Colt.
No, leader.
Oh, well, apparently leader had something to say about my comment. My goodness.
That's a dead Sabin.
Womp womp. And an Odin pickup, which is nice.
A lot of Espers early on for Doesn't. Halfway through the requirements already. Make rapid progress. Venture forth dauntlessly. We've got an Ifrit and Shiva battle for Shadow Sid. On the way to the floating continent. Not the greatest matchup for Sid here. High physical defense and limited access to Fire 2 so far, I believe. But, I mean, once you switch over to Shiva, that Fire 2 spell should get the job done. Doesn't he also on the way to the floating continent in much better shape? Valiant Knife also ignores defense, so Doesn't he can hold A through Ifrit and possibly Shiva. Ultros down for Saber Wolf, now just gotta hack away at Chupon until he sneezes the party away. Sausage about halfway through the river now, looks like. Level 4 player for Doesn't he could spell trouble for some of his characters. That is a very dead ninja.
Uh-oh. Well,
Shadow Sid defeats Ifrit and Shiva and finds the easiest boss in the game.
I was gonna say, yes, considering Tunnel Armor was intended to be a boss basically there to say, hi, use Runic, it'll steal spells for you. It doesn't seem to have much of a resistance to much of anything, especially when Grand Train is about to come straight at it.
Well, the only party member in Vanilla that can deal damage is Locke with his piddly little daggers at that point, so it can't have a defense stat.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, those goblin enemies are from Ancient Castle in Vanilla, so pretty good experience to level ratio. So
Absolutely.
Sid and Doesn't he just starting to fly up there in levels. You're seeing characters with over 1,000 hit points. Setzer, found immediately at the start of Floating Continent, has Sword Tech, but with no Cyan found, Sword Tech doesn't necessarily unlock all of its moves, so it's not necessarily a great ability.
Yeah, it really just sort of depends on what you want to do. Of course, the efficacy of Sword Tech is greatly increased in this randomizer because it is sped up a lot, which helps.
Indeed it is. And Saber Wolf having dispatched Typhoon and picked up a Yeti, is going to go see what's hanging out at the Kefka and our spot.
And looks like may very well be giving it a shot. Sitting at that save point, why not? While you're up here, at least. Take a gander.
Yeah, pitch a pretty pink tent and then get to work. And I mean, with this many characters, you can run a 4-man team through the check, so that's pretty handy.
And
Where can be a cheerleader from the back row with the ghost.
Well, I was about to say, you know, Umaro is definitely a very frosty boy, and the snow up here certainly seems to suggest that he can stay in his natural habitat. Hang out with the ghost.
Very ghostly.
Well, he ain't afraid of no ghost. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da.
Do-do-do-do-do. Ghost Nappa!
Ghost Yeti!
Well, there's a train for that robot. Oh, and look at what we got here today.
Well, hello, Spicy Chicken. How are you doing?
Well, Shadow Sid does have Grand Train. That's going to be the bulk of his offense against this Spicy Chicken. And any Flame Shields, Red Jackets would certainly be an asset here. Saberwolf taking a reset out of the Kefka and Narsh. And just going to say, yeah, maybe I don't need to do this.
Yeah, it's usually the Kefka and Narsh check will definitely be presentable if you find yourself a good character at it, but it's also, you know, I wouldn't say super lengthy, but it's not exactly the easiest check ever, so...
well, we were talking about natural habitats, and here's Ultros exactly where he's supposed to be.
Ha!
And
What is this vanilla nonsense?
Well, and Sausage finds Edgar. Thinking about what to do with the party here is Sausage. Elects not to use Edgar. Went into his menu too quickly for me to see which ability he had. But if you're leaving in a character with health, it probably isn't that good. But we've got some very different progression going on here, character-wise. We've got Umaro for Saberwolf, Setzer for Sid and Doesn't, and King Edgar for Sausage.
Yep, so we are getting to one of those things that makes Worlds Collide such a fun randomizer, and that is you have a singular objective to go forth and kick the clown in the teeth, but there's lots of different ways to go about doing it.
Sid making good use of those ethers to keep the trains a-coming. That's unlucky. Gets the stop proc off the stunner, but it misses. Disappointing.
Uh-oh. That's unfortunate.
And Doesn't he is going to be fighting his Spicy Chicken now, and much like previous battles for Doesn't he, he's going to hold the A button with Valiant Knives. Yay! Sausage picking up some more loot in the basement of Seth Figaro, this time in the World of Ruin. And Saberwolf is on the way to the floating continent, so there will be a Setzer in Saberwolf's near future. Chop chop go the knives, down down goes the spicy.
And I'm sure Shadow Sid is definitely happy to see all of those spells coming across his radar, as well as, of course, that lance that you get for beating old chicken.
Well, here's a convenient happenstance for Doesn't he? Terra, his Valiant Knife dual wielder just went down, so sitting at critical health, she's going to hit really hard, or get cockatrice back to the floor.
Ooh, yipes, yeah. That's always, of course, the balance that you have to play with a Valiant Knife. How far down do you keep their HP to balance between maximum hittage and not just getting wiped off the face of the planet?
Just hit so hard that they don't get a chance to do anything. That's all you have to do.
Well, Doesn't is trying to work on that, but unfortunately, Poltergeist is really not cooperating with that line of thinking.
Well, we needed something to spice things up here.
Yeah, it was getting a little too bland, wasn't it? And Poltergeist is doing plenty of spicing, probably a little more spicing than Doesn't really wanted to see on his screen tonight.
Yeah, poor Terra is taking an absolute beating out there.
Meanwhile, poor Shadow is just, well, I guess he's getting a bit of a rest. There go those Valiant Knives, and there goes Poltergeist. So, took maybe a little bit longer than Doesn't would have wanted, but down goes the chicken.
Yeah, a couple of big swings there. Another Genji glove in Figaro Castle's basement for Sausage. So
Nice.
even more Valiant Knife madness if you want. Yay!
Yep.
Getting towards the end of the continent now is Shadow Sid. Got a boss fight on the sparkly thingy. Boss fight is going to... Ooh, Magi Master. That's not pleasant.
Oh.
Train for Sausage, though, so that's a freebie down in the Figaro engine.
I was going to say one thing, in a sense, that one could argue is good about
Wishful
these.
thinking by Shadow Sid. Can I just use a smoke bomb and run away from the Magi Master? Unfortunately, no.
Yeah, nice try. If I recall correctly, though, and one of the biggest issues with trying to fight the Magimaster is, of course, Magimaster will shift magic resistances all the dang time, and has incredibly high defense. But, as you mentioned earlier, Valiant Knives ignore defense, so...
Yeah, gonna be a pretty simple boss fight for Doesn't. Shadow Sid is going to just have to run an entire station worth of trains into it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that'll do the
Sausage
job.
defeats a train.
That'll do the trick, but just a little bit slower.
And definitely a little more dangerous the longer the fight goes on.
Yeah, true.
So Magi Master for Doesn't he? Going to get hit with a nasty flash rain to start things up here. So it's solo Sabin right now. Going to have to rebuild.
Oh, that hurt.
Can Doesn't rebuild it? Does he have the technology?
Can he do it? Yes, he can. At least with 7, anyway.
Shadow Sid running into some problems here as well. I mean, it is Magi Master. It is definitely one of the nastier bosses.
Yeah,
Doesn't he
definitely.
gonna fire off a grand train here? 3,000 damage is nice, but this guy's pretty durable. There's a big double turn from Magi Master against Doesn't he? He's hanging on by a thread here as Saber Wolf gets to go high tunnel armor, bye tunnel armor. Doesn't he going for broke? Does have a shell up, so probably wearing force gear. Gonna try to outslug the boss at this point. And is a wipe and a reset. Unfortunate for Doesn't he? A Giganto spotted for Sausage. That's some spicy experience.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And Doesn't he back to the save point at the start of the continent. Brutal.
Yeah, that's rough. It's always one of those things that, of course, there is that save spot a good bit further into the floating continent, but it does take a little bit of extra time to be able to get to it and use it, so...
Yeah, forced animation save point is what that one is.
Yep. So it's really just down to preference as to whether to use that or not, but unfortunately, yeah, it looks like it probably would have saved Doesn't-he at least a little bit of time.
That's a risk-reward thing here.
Yep.
So Sid seems to be committed to trying to win this fight here, doing 30 damage at a time with jump and spamming health. That's probably not a time-conducive strategy, as Old Man Strago gets a visit from the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, and of course that time keeps ticking down, so Sid is almost certainly not going to be able to last this out.
Well, the good news about the timer, at least, is if it ticks down during the fight, you're still fine as far as Worlds Collide is concerned.
Okay, that's good.
Sausage going to be taking on a dragon here in the ancient castle. Surprise, surprise, it's the Dearth Dragon, and that's not good.
No, it isn't. Poor Interceptor, he tried.
Yeah, so there's a wipe for Shadow Sid as well. Doesn't he? Not even gonna refight Spicy Chicken, just get out of that continent. I got my Setzer, let's go somewhere else.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, and Sid back to the starting save point at Floating Continent again. Saberwolf closing in on the Spicy Chicken spot. We're gonna see Saberwolf meet an untimely demise, much like Doesn't he and Sid did a moment ago. Dirt Dragon is down for Sausage. That'll be another big pile of experience points.
Absolutely, yeah. The dragons in this seed are scaled, so they are a bit more approachable than one might expect normally.
Reward is a Pearl Lance. We do have a natural jumper. If Shadow can equip that lance, that would be quite nice.
Yep.
The dead check, though, reward was a Flame Shield from the statue. So things looking pretty good for Sausage right now by virtue of not having gone to the Floating Continent.
Yeah. Ooh, Saberwolf using one of Terra's dances there and finding that the Wind Slash is healing old Spicy Chicken, so...
Yeah, risky play to use a dance when you haven't looked at what it does in the menu.
Right, yeah.
And, well, it's also got Ice Rabbit, so it might be hard to put Terra down and get her out of healing the boss.
Right, yeah. The, kind of the downside to a dance, if you will.
Sausage finds a wolf inside of a box. Don't know how it managed to fit itself in there, but one quick swing from a Valiant Knife and down it goes.
Well, I mean, this is an RPG. You can fit dang near anything inside a box, apparently.
Even a boat.
Yep. Also, on Saberwolf's side, Poltergeist apparently heard what we were talking about with that dance doing him well, or doing the party wrong, and decided to go ahead and oblige them by killing off Terra.
Well, unlike Doesn't, who certainly didn't want his Terra to die over and over again, it's probably a bit of a relief for Saber here.
Yeah.
Well, Shadow Sid, with Setzer in tow, is checking out inside of Kalingen, World of Ruin. Picked up a absurd 91 shurikens in case a thrower shows up. And look at this, we've got Celes on the Figaro throne. So that is 6 characters for Sausage, first to reach the milestone.
That looks like Doesn't has a tentacle fight here and is going to grand train the daylights out of it.
Sausage picking up some status cures and a drill. Doesn't he battling the legendary Greek hero Tentacles? And Saberwolf still pounding away at that Spicy Chicken. Does have bio, though, which is the boss's elemental weakness.
Yeah, I was actually about to mention, I know Saberwolf was using ice on Poltergeist. I think that's sort of a little bit of a mistake born out of the community calling him Spicy Chicken and him using fire so much.
You would assume that the boss is is weak to ice, yes, but it's in fact poison.
Also, speaking of the Greek hero Tentacles, I'm a little scared to imagine what sort of epic Iliad-style adventures Tentacles would have gone on.
It is certainly rated R.
Yeah, I think we'll have to save those for another time.
Well, Dusty makes relatively short work of those. Not a big problem when you've got a lot of Valiant Knives and a Grand Train to roll around on. Sausage now heading up Mount Colts. Reward here, I believe, was the Shiva Esper for defeating the leader. Sid checking the monster in a box. It's the Master Pug.
Yep, the same Master Pug that Dusty ran from a little bit earlier, and Sid is smoke bombing right out.
I mean, maybe you really want that Gradius. It's not as good as an Excalibur, which isn't a very good weapon.
Yeah, sure, exactly.
Spicy down for Saberwolf. Now, here's the thing. We know what awaits if Saberwolf presses on recklessly.
Yep.
Flying Octopus defeated for Dusty, and the reward is not an Esper.
Womp womp.
Just another crappy Genji helmet.
I was gonna say, speaking of womp womp, wow, yikes.
Leader for Sausage, Tentacles for Sid, and Saberwolf did in fact just run right on ahead.
Oh dear.
That Magimaster is just sitting there at the end, just looking at those notches he made in his staff when he knocked out Sid and Dusty and expecting a third here.
So I guess then the question is, at this rate, will he take a bite out of all four members of our runners, or of our stream runners tonight?
I don't think we'll see Sausage head to the floating continent unless the Espers dry up, because there's just so many better options right now. So
yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
I mean, Sausage only needs 5 Espers. Still has some basically free quick Sabin checks as we're seeing Sausage head to the waterfall now. And then there's still Magitech facility.
Yeah.
Doesn't find an Esper inside the Belt Cave, so there's another one available to all players. No one's been here yet. Guarding it is some Piranhas. So a longer fight, but early enough in the scaling that they won't be particularly threatening, thankfully. Oh, look at that! Rizapis out right away. This is the fastest I've ever seen it.
I was about to say, I know they had lowered the timer in Worlds Collide, but I think the timer was what 5 to 30 seconds now.
It's quite random, unless it's been lowered a lot in the most recent release, which I was not aware of. Anyway, that's a dead 128 for Sausage. There was an Esper at the bottom here. I don't remember which one it was. And here's the moment you've all been waiting for. Magimaster versus Saberwolf.
An epic fight in the making. We should have sold tickets.
Well, like all other players, Saberwolf does have a method to damage the boss in Grand Train. So there's at least that.
Yeah.
The ninja washes up on the shore. That's Esper number 6 for Sausage. Ooh, Phantom Esper picked up for Sid has Merton on it, and we know there's a lot of fire resistance gear available. Dusty is going to peek the Fanatic's Tower. It is not a character. Dusty is going to leave the Fanatic's Tower.
Understandable.
Well, Sausage Guy has some more loot and money, so it's straight back to Tzen to pick up some more Valiant Knives.
And it looks like for Doesn't, it's time to go play Where's That Coral?
Bit of a heads-up play there from Sausage as well. Left the poison on Sabin to drain his hit points for Valiant Knife purposes. Sid all done with Daryl's Tomb. And gonna go peek Mobliz. We're getting a little desperate here, just flinging feeble attacks at Magimaster, perhaps all out of MP restoratives.
Hard to say. I didn't see for sure.
I mean, like, this is a situation where it's like, if you got a Mega Elixir, you should use it, especially because the boss is guaranteed to drop one.
Yeah, that might be something though that Saberwolf is not aware of. I certainly wasn't, at least not
Gonna
right
fire off
offhand.
a scan, still about 10,000 hit points to go.
Ooh, oh boy.
Oh, double Doom. It's
Oh,
Doom
no.
2, Hell on Earth.
Oh dear. And unlike the game, we don't have Doom Guy to shoot everything in the face.
Oh, Saberwolf could use one of those invincibility spheres right about now.
Yeah, yeah.
Down to just solo Sabin here. And just kind of peeking around, like, what am I going to do here? We've got Sausage inside Magitech Factory. I did say that this is likely where Sausage would end up going to search for Espers.
Yeah. It makes sense. You've got 3 possible checks there, and they're relatively quick. At least the first 2 are.
Yeah. Shadow Sid battling the Fun Baba, and then we'll see what the boss is after that. Has to be fought with 2 characters. Well, Saberwolf is wisened up to the fact that the physicals are useless, and it's time to roll some trains.
And it's time for some Doom on Doesn't side, because hello, Doom Gaze.
Luckily, none of his characters were level 5, so able to laugh that off, and time to go to work with all those Valiant Knives. Kara goes down from Doom, but that'll just power up her Valiant Knives when she stands back up. Dullahan, first boss inside the Magitech facility. Dataluma at Mobliz. Shouldn't be too much of an issue for Shadow Sid's half the party.
Oh, oh no! Oh no! Down goes Saberwolf.
Oh, Magimaster.
Yep.
You scary, scary man. Dullahan down for Sausage. He does have a Valiant Knife on Terra, but looks like he forgot to put her on the front row. Just a Force Armor, not an Esper, but Force Armor, definitely a solid piece of defensive gear.
And Doomgaze goes down on Doesn't side, so let's see what that check is, and we'll find out pretty quickly if it's a character or otherwise, because, well, the game will straight out tell us.
Yeah, Carbuncle for Sid inside Mobliz. And we've got a cutscene, so it's a Cyan, doesn't he? Picks up everyone's favorite old samurai. So that does put sword tech that Setzer has in play. Cyan, unfortunately, just coming with Shock. Shock's a good command, but with Cyan's low magic power, you've got better options.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a good command, but oh, hello, Minerva. It's a good command, but not on Cyan.
Yeah, Minerva, if we were talking about nice armor, Minerva is the nicest armor. So doesn't he'll be quite happy to have picked that up. 4 elemental immunities, and the other 4 deal half damage. And conveniently, he has a character that could use the elemental immunities wielding 2 Valiant Knives. So, not too hard to imagine where that's going.
Yeah.
Saberwolf is having to do the long walk of shame back through the floating continent, just as 2 of our other racers have already had to do.
Yep.
I blinked and I missed whatever it was that Sausage just killed.
Yeah, same here. I was looking at everybody else.
It was Vargas and the Ipoos is what it was.
Ah.
And I think the reward was not a Magicite from the looks of it. So Sausage is going to press on and do the minecart ride. 2 duds. Third one can't be a dud, right? Right?
Well, I guess we'll find out, won't we?
Well, Shadow Sid is going to be picking up everyone's favorite Yeti, so all of our racers will have 6 characters, albeit very different rosters.
Mm-hmm. And chat mentioning that Aegis Shield was a reward, so much obliged.
Great all-purpose shield, hard to argue with that.
Yep.
But, I mean, if you're Sausage at this point, you just want the Espers. You're good. You've got all these Valiant Knives and Grand Trains. You don't need too much else.
Right.
And like the others, Saber is not refighting the spicy chicken and just going to leave the floating continent. Senor Behemoth here for Doesn't in World of Balance Doma. Probably not going to last very long against a bunch of knives and fire 3s.
No, I can't imagine it's gonna go very, or that the Senor is going to last very long. Goes down to that fire 3, and yep, down goes round 2 with those Valiant Knives. So very quick check.
Phantom Magicite for Saberwolf, so you have access to party-wide invisibility and a Merton spell. If you can get all the fire resistances up, it's definitely available. Also plays nicely with the Valiant Knife, boost of HP 50% on level up.
Oh, definitely nice. Yeah, absolutely.
Time for Shadow Sid to go hop down the waterfall. See where Doesn't he heads next. After picking up the Siren Esper in Doma. Doesn't he flying over to Jador. I mean, Doesn't he does have 9 Espers, so Auction House could be the key to a quick sub 1 hour Kefka Tower entry.
Well, let's see if he has Zelfur luck or everybody else's luck.
Well, we've got a Tri-Talk battle here for Sausage, who does have access to fire damage and Valiant Knives, so whatever, go away Tri-Talk, you're wasting our time.
Speaking of wasting time, Doesn't he did not have Zelfur luck and got the Imp cutscene. So Auction House didn't
Locke
work
at
out.
least has a couple of very quick checks.
That is true.
And one particularly long one.
That is also true.
Saberwolf off to Daryl's tomb, gonna fight some Tentacles. And here's our next item up for bid. It's a splendid chest with a very, very expensive flail. Like, we've got Saber. Saber seems to be frozen in place right now. Interesting choice. Sausage does pick up the Esper, it's Zone Seek, but the other reward was a Dragonhorn, and we do have a Nat Jumper. I wonder if Sausage will take that quick trip to World of Balance Narsh to pick up the Dragonhorn. And it looks like that's exactly what he's doing.
Yep. Yeah, that's definitely one of the nice things that's been put into this randomizer is if you do choose one of the items in Ruin Narsh, you can go back and get the other item in Balance Narsh by going up to that Welk spot. And Doesn't has found the Esper he needs to go into KT, so I think that will be money very quickly and well spent.
Sold to this lucky person. Take it away. You get a stray. Last plot coupon for doesn't he?
So a stray puppy or kitty?
Stray kitty.
Okay. I
Well,
mean, either one
Sausage
would
has
work,
to
but
do the requisite no experience fight, as we have something interesting going on here. It looks like we're trying to get Saberwolf's stream back up, battling the tentacles right now. Can't really see what Sausage is doing, but I don't think Sausage is going to have any issues whatsoever with Ultros and Chupon. We'll get a superfluous Yeti, unfortunately, but on the plus side, there's a Dragonhorn just sitting in the cave behind. And yes, there it is. Down goes Chupon, off goes Sausage. And doesn't he going to be entering KT? Just a hair over an hour. Pretty brisk pace.
absolutely. Of course, that's not too terribly surprising, considering that Doesn't is one of the T-top racers in the community. So, speedy strats are no surprise here, really.
Yeah, with all those Valiant knives in tow, definitely has the offense to make something good happen here.
Oh, absolutely.
Shadow Sid fighting Ultros in the air. And we know, unfortunately, that this is a dead check. It was just a crappy Genji helmet. Sausage has his Dragonhorn. Still needs 3 Espers, so where's Sausage going to head next? Well, free loot in South Figaro is pretty quick, that's for sure. Doesn't he just walking through the Kefka's Tower area? Not even particularly interested in out-of-the-way chests here, feeling pretty confident. There's a tack star for whatever reason. Don't think we've seen a thrower at all tonight.
No, not that I can recall.
Yeah, it looks like everyone's party is pretty much set. Some extra characters showed up, but everyone's sticking with the starting 3 and best girl.
Yeah, understandable.
I mean, you've got a Jumper that can use a Pearl Lance. Terra and Sabin can both use Valiant knives. Terra has good magic power. Sabin's got Grand Train. Strago's just kind of there, but he's, got a decent amount of levels.
Yeah, he can take a few hits if necessary.
Yeah. We're having some technical difficulties on Saberwolf's end here, unfortunately, so might be kind of tough to see where they're at for the next little while, but if we can get that back up and running, we absolutely will.
Absolutely. Speaking of our getting the runners taken care of and what have you, if you haven't already, go ahead and follow our runners, Shadow Sid, Saber Wolf, Kilbasiago, and Doesn't He, who are fine runners, and it's much appreciated that they are giving us this show tonight. Also, make sure and go follow everybody else who's helping on the Restream team. Brianna is taking care of all of the Restream needs and working behind the scenes to get all of our tech straightened out. Brianna and Seal Cat are both tracking, so that's definitely quite the job to be doing for 4 runners. And then, of course, Jack is joining me in the booth, and thank you very much. I definitely appreciate the assist tonight.
We've been over this before. You're the one joining me.
Well, we can agree to disagree on that one.
Well, Shadow Sid's electing to fight this red dragon here in World of Ruin Narsh.
Yep.
Get some nice experience, maybe a really good item. And Sausage is off to the auction house to hopefully pick up the remaining 2 Espers that he needs to enter Kefka's Tower.
Oh, looks like Sausage... now you've got me saying it.
That's his name.
Oh, come now. Well,
That's his name.
I was gonna say it looks like he had. Oh, hello, Golem. Looks like he had better luck getting that first Esper up at least than Doesn't did. So, going back out, gonna see if that second Esper will pull quickly, or maybe save first.
Well, definitely a good idea to take a quick save there. I mean, it takes a little of the time to go do it, but On the offhand, if the Esper doesn't show up, you can't really reload a save and have to sit through a minute of text.
Right.
But this will get Sausage entry into Kefka's Tower. Got some
Speaking
button
of-
switch pressing here for Doesn't He. The boss in the Inferno spot was just number 24, so easily chopped to pieces by his dual knife Terra.
Yeah, I was about to say, speaking of going through Kefka's Tower, Doesn't is just sprinting through. Not that that's, again, too much of a surprise, but still, it's pretty nice to see.
Buttons
And,
are pressed, and it's time for some penultimate boss fights.
Yup. So Kilbasiago went ahead and picked up that offering for 10,000 gold, and will, if you
So-
could use
so
it, or
There is some interesting possibilities here from this auction house. Doesn't he got in there, got the stray Esper, got out. Sausage is going to pick up 2 Espers in an offering, and one of those Espers is Golem, which is the primo Calmness protection.
Yep. And if I remember correctly, the offering is also a particularly good relic to use with those Valiant Knives, because offering usually, I believe, halves the stats of all the weapons that you use, but I believe that's not the case for Valiant Knives.
Dicey moments here for Doesn't He. Solo battle against the Stooges here.
Uh-oh.
And Doesn't He didn't have the Minerva on Terra for whatever reason, and is going to have to reset and go back here. This is actually a pretty significant opportunity for Sausage to catch up and make this a 2-horse race.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of the unfortunate nature of that part of Kefka's Tower is you've got the save, of course, after that first fight, and then you don't have a save again until you go through one of the penultimate bosses. So it makes it a little awkward.
Well, looks like we have Saberwolf back up and running. So Saberwolf battling Dadaluma and Mobliz. Reward here is going to be that Carbuncle Esper. Sid beat up the boss in the Tritox spot, and is now on the way to beat up whatever is at Umaro's spot.
And gets an Illumina out of the item check, so definitely not a bad sight to see in the slightest.
If it's going to be a dead check, make it an Illumina.
Yup.
It doesn't really get much better than that. Well, I mean, we do have a dual wield offering Valiant Knives, which is going to be better than an Illumina. But you need multiple items for that. The Illumina is just stupidly good on its own.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're asking for the stars to line up awfully nicely to get the offering Genji gloved double Valiant Knife rammer jammer combo.
Yeah. Well, Sausage not having much luck finding this last Esper, and has picked up an additional offering, and now another offering. Oh no, it's a Gravity Rod this time.
Oh! So not even... Yipes. Boy.
Yeah. Well, this is the danger of Auction House. It control.
Yep.
Saberwolf off to the Velt Cave. We knew there was an Esper down here as well. So Sid and Saber, while a little bit behind, are starting to get the rest of their remaining Espers. Shadow Sid will have an Illumina to help out, and that's an especially good pickup for Sid because I don't think Sid's found the buyable Valiant Knives.
I don't remember seeing him see them. If that makes any sense.
Sausage gonna save this time, and come on, let's get that last Esper, Sausage. Don't get trolled by the auction house.
Again.
Well, doesn't he, giving Hyden a lesson in his own signature spell. Quick piranhas for Saberwolf. And it's going to be a quick leader battle for Shadow Sid at the top of Mount Colts. Doesn't he getting a little low on HP here again against Haydn. That one hit quite hard. There's going to be some quick piranhas here for Saber Wolf, as we mentioned. Sausage resetting again. Auction House being so unkind.
Yeah, the beginning of it was definitely good, but now it's just, oh, holy Moses.
And looks like Sausage just talked to a random NPC. It's like, maybe the RNG's getting stale or something. Can I do something to switch this up? Just give me the Esper. And it's another treasure chest. Hooray! And now we have another battle with Na Leader, as doesn't defeats Haydn in the Hyde Knights. And unlocks that all-important save point. So a little bit less of a walk to take more attempts at these other bosses here. Stooges in particular might be a little nasty, but he is expecting them now and does have a Minerva.
All right, so chat pointing out something that I'm glad they did, because I was actually about to ask myself, that you all were pointing out that the auction house checking was going on in World of Balance instead of World of Ruin. I did not realize there was a difference in terms of items leaving the pool, so that is definitely good to know. Hey, I'm a teacher. I mean, yeah, Doesn't did face the Stooges, but unfortunately they took him down, so had to reset.
They did.
But yeah, I'm a teacher, so I definitely, one of the things I try to mention to my students and hope that they remember is that I think one of the best aspects of life is being open to learning throughout, not just assuming that you learned everything, because, well, you haven't.
Yep. And Sausage fed up with the auction house, went and did a quick South Figaro cave check and is rewarded with a completely unnecessary Gao. Round 2 for Doesn't against the Stooges. Does have the Minerva equipped on Terra this time, so it should be a much different story than previously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Top Stooge down. Should be smooth sailing from here.
Yep. Once you get that one down, there's no more reviving the rest of the Stooges and no more Delta hits, so... Also, holy crap, Cyan hanging on.
Yeah, Sausage off to the cave on the Veldt. This will give Sausage the final Esper. And Shadow Sid also doing auction house checks in World of Balance. So there is a difference, as we've mentioned. So might be something we'll remind some of our newer runners of in the post game.
Well, it's a good opportunity to learn. I have definitely, in any of the randomizers that I've done, that's how I try to view opportunities such as this, because yeah, it's definitely, I think, a better way to think of things, even if you learn stuff like that later than maybe could have helped you in a race. It's certainly good to amalgamate that information for next time.
Absolutely. Saberwolf's gonna jump down the waterfall. Doesn't he? Battling Doom.
Whatever shall he doom?
Hold A.
And pray?
I don't think prayer is really particularly necessary.
No, not in this case. Not when you are worshiping at the Church of Valiant Knife.
Well, when Doom puts his barrier up there, he does gain image status briefly. So doesn't he moving his character to the back row here? Because as you'll see, this targeting move is followed up by a physical called Demon Rage, and that hits very, very hard. And in
Ooh,
fact, too hard
too
for
hard.
Dovey, even on the back row.
Ah, yikes.
Yeah, kind of a curious play by Doesn't. Honestly, I mean, it's all physical attacks from that point on. Smarter play would have just been to use a Phoenix Down on Cyan.
Well, that being said, what this is doing is giving an opportunity as Kilbasiago is heading into KT. So we've got ourselves a little. We're seeing a bit of a narrowing of this lead that Doesn't he had.
A little bit. It's kind of balanced out by how long Sausage spent in the auction house.
Yeah.
But right behind Sausage, Shadow Sid is entering Kefka's tower as well, having had considerably better luck in the auction house.
Oh yes. So Kilbasiago has 3 extra characters. I don't think he chose to take really any of them with him, but
Phase 2 again for Doesn't he, this time with a Living Cyan, so shouldn't be any problem to tank through all the physical attacks here. Especially helps when the boss decides, I'm going to go after the other guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Status, however, not going away for Doesn't he. There's an Esper picked up for Saberwolf at the bottom of the waterfall. And looks like Saberwolf, if I looked at the Esper inventory correctly, there's actually only at 7, not 8 Espers, maybe. But we did have that whole issue where we couldn't see what Saberwolf was doing for a little while.
I was going to say, Jack, I think Saber might have heard you talking. Because
I am very loud.
Hey, I've heard worse. I've heard much worse. I work in retail as well. Loud is pretty much the name of the game.
So Saberwolf, checking out the Phantom Train. There's a Minerva there. Do note that Saberwolf did not find the... Oh wait, no, Saberwolf did find the first Minerva in Thamasa. Now it's just a matter of, do you keep the Minerva or do you keep the time? And it looks like Saberwolf is electing to keep the time. That's going to be a reset and off to hopefully more lucrative pastures. Final prep and save here for Doesn't. And then we'll be seeing a final Kefka battle. Number 24 for Sausage, and Sid not far behind at all. Going to be quite an interesting finish between those two.
Absolutely.
Sausage definitely has the edge on offense, though, I would say.
Yeah. I think
all the Valiant Knife swings in the world. That is a dead number 24.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Oh, it actually survived that barrage of hits. But then again, Sausage's Sabin is quite healthy at the moment.
Yeah. Doesn't survive the second barrage, though.
Definitely not. And here we go. Doesn't he starting off the final battle? Shadow Sid has his Moogly Sabin tossing out grand trains here on number 24. And immediately Doesn't is going to have to fix his Rose up. Gets hit by reverse polarity right away. Doesn't look like there's any access to death, as Doesn't he is just pounding away with knives on the longer arm.
I was actually about to ask about that because I know we have seen Odin. I know at least one of the runners picked that up, but I'm presuming doesn't did not, or doesn't have it. I guess.
Well, here's leader for Saber Wolf. This will be Esper number 8, and it's insta-killed by a Breakblade swing.
Well, I mentioned Odin, and there it is.
Putting out pretty good offense, 9,000 damage a turn with those double knives.
Yeah, definitely. That'll very much do the trick, I think, on most things.
Yeah, and rare but potent use of Big Guard, putting up safe status on the parties. Definitely useful when you've got a bunch of characters that rely on being extremely low on health to deal optimal amounts of damage.
Right.
Saberwolf looting the items inside the Returner's hideout. Hasn't been there at all yet. There was nothing too interesting in that back room, just a gold hairpin to sell for some money. And I think this chest was a tortoise shield. Yes, it was.
Interesting. So you notice on Doesn't screen, I believe, at least I would presume, Strago has a True Knight on because he was very bravely taking hits for the lower HP members of his party.
Yeah, it's not a strategy you'll see come out often in the randomizer, but when most of your team relies on Valiant Knives, it's a pretty heads-up play, I have to admit.
Yeah, definitely.
So Sausage battling the Stooges right now. And right behind Sausage is Shadow Sid. And 2 Stooges go down in 1 attack for Sausage with all the Valiant Knife goodness. And I don't think Larry is much longer for this world either. Shadow Sid, meanwhile, is going to have to rely on Grand Trains and an uncontrollable character. This is not going to be a fun encounter for Sid.
No, and Umaro already is just barely hanging on, and now is no longer hanging on.
Yeah, X-Zone misses for Doesn't he on tools in Tier 2. And yeah, that's a reset for Shadow Sid. Just a very, very nasty boss placement for the way he split his teams up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Hopefully we'll be able to get through it on a second attempt.
Doom now for Sausage. Sausage is going to hold A.
And
So
as you
he's
said
just
earlier,
frozen,
no,
but that's not really going to be much of a problem.
no, not particularly. Like you said, prayer is not really very much needed in this instance.
Doom halfway down already. Doesn't he in a heap of trouble here? Has a dead Sabin and a stoned ninja, and his characters are low on health. Hopefully Doesn't he'll be able to turn this thing around here. Gao's being a helper. And now he's dead.
I was about to say, yeah, now Gao is on the carpet, so not helping too much.
Certainly not.
I mean, you could maybe say he's checking the floor for pests or something, but other than that,
Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't he flirting with disaster here in Tier 2, but does have all of his party back up now. The offense is there, Terra dealing about 14,000 per attack with those 2 knives. And he
Ooh, boy.
does have the magic part muted, so it should be firmly under control now with just the physical part left.
Right. That True Knight going to work again for Strago, so
Yeah, and Strago is just going to be blocking everything here as 10 hits comes out. There's Esper number 9 for Saberwolf at the top of Zozo. Limit Break! Always fun to see those. But with offering your Genji Glove setups, usually the late game, at least, the attack would do far more damage than a Limit Break. Hiding in the Hide Knights now for Shadow Sid, and, well, Sid has an Illumina, so not going to have any issues with this boss.
nope. Meanwhile, it looks like Kilbasiago is also having himself a date with the... Well, I know the Runaway 5 is Earthbound, so...
It's Hiding in the Hide Knights.
Oh, well, I mean...
They're everyone's favorite 50s prog band.
yes, well...
Hiding down for Shadow Sid, so a slight lead change between those two here.
Meanwhile, Dozen has made it to Tier 3 of the Kefka fight, so now those Valiant Knives, oh boy.
We've got our first Colosseum sighting here. Leather hats become Minerva's, Saberwolf has found out. That's a lucrative trade.
Uh-huh, just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Shadow going to town with that Pearl Lance is going to dispatch Haydn. Shadow said didn't find sleeping bags, so having to rely on tents for save point healing. That'll give a few of those seconds back anyway. And Shadow Sid's just throwing all the equipment around between the teams to get through these boss battles. And yes, actually, I misspoke when I said lead change because I briefly forgot that Shadow Sid wiped the Stooges. Saberwolf also having to resort to tent usage here. And it'll be final mini boss, if you want to call it that, here for Sausage. And it's going to be a whole lot of stabbity death. Big Bad Merton does some damage to Dozen's party there. Going to have to rebuild here. The girl is already down, though. And Shadow Sid going to try the Stooges again, swinging an Excalibur around. That's that's not gonna do a whole lot.
No,
But
but unfortunately,
I suppose when you're silenced.
yeah, there's not really a lot you can do in that instance.
Sausage swinging some more knives at Ultros here. Again, with a character who you just healed using a tent, so not getting all the big bonus damage. And now blinded. What a nuisance. But it doesn't matter. Ultros is dead. And Sausage will be on to the final battle. Doesn't he damaging his own team to power up his Valiant Knives?
Ooh, Sid having a really rough time with these Stooges. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's always a gamble when you send a solo character and an uncontrollable character in Team 3, because there's 3 bosses there. Well, Umaro can use an Illumina for all the good it does. I mean, defensively it'll help out a bit, but Umaro can't fix Sabin up if bad things happen. But Shadow Sid swapping his relics and such around, going for a much more defensive setup here, has a ribbon and a gold hairpin on, so the ribbon will at least protect against Delta attack. Doesn't he lose his Strago, but does defeat Tier 3 and is on to Final Kefka as Sausage begins the final battle. I don't foresee Doesn't having a whole lot of difficulties with Final Kefka given his offensive output here.
No, I don't see that being much of an issue either. Poor Cyan coming in at 213 HP though, holy cow.
He's helping!
Ha!
He's an elixir guy.
True.
Umaro gets a big Pearl proc off for Sid, but on the wrong stooge, unfortunately. Sausage swinging 8 Valiant Knives per attack with Sabin. Takes a big hit in return, but that's just going to make Sabin all the more dangerous. Meanwhile, Terra swinging 4 Valiant Knives per turn. Umaro getting a little stoned here for Sid, but does have softs to fix that up. End comes beyond chaos for Doesn't He. It's time to let loose everything you got. Going to wisely throw an X potion on Terra because it looks like he is going to have to eat a goner here. And potential danger for Doesn't here, as Shadow is going to land from that jump, and Kefka counterattacks are in play now. So Doesn't he going to try to get his party back on his feet before anything nasty can happen here.
Ooh, like a Havoc Wing to the face.
A max damage Havoc Wing. But that will enable Terra to swing out those 14,000 damage attacks again, and one of those might be enough. Sausage going with a little more focused fire here. You don't want to kill the head part last, as you'll eat a very powerful Quake counterattack. Terra misses on both attacks for Doesn't He. That's just plain unfortunate.
Oh.
Breaks a shield. Kefka is still alive. So it might be another goner here. And yet, here it comes. Goner is going to go off. Double miss. That is just extremely rare. It's not like Kefka has a huge evasion stat or anything. Solo Umaro versus Larry. That Blizzard Orb not going to help out Sid here. But Doesn't He does get it done with that final attack. That is GG to Doesn't He, who is going to take first place on our stream here tonight with a very robust time of 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 6 seconds.
GG's to Doesn't. It looks like he will be joining us for an interview shortly, so let's see if we can go ahead and pull them in.
In optimistic news, Sid finally defeats those Stooges and can move on with the game. Saberwolf getting started here in Kefka's Tower, takes out number 24. Still very much a race between the remaining 3, if anything untoward should continue to happen to Sid or Sausage. Saberwolf's not out of this just yet.
And we are joined in chat by our first place finisher on stream, Doesn't. GG, Doesn't.
No, thank you.
So, sorry, I think I might have accidentally cut you off on what you were saying earlier. What were you saying?
I hate those Stooges.
Yeah, those Stooges have definitely been a pain, I think, for pretty much everybody who's faced them so far.
I mean, it was completely my fault that I wiped them on my end, but I hate them.
Well, I mean, you can still, like you said, you can still have it be your fault, and they'd still be a pain in the butt. So, one thing I did want to say as far as your strategy on Final Kefka, I noticed that you had put the True Knight on Strago and had him blocking for your weaker characters. So we were commenting how big galaxy brain of a strategy that was to try to protect your Valiant Knife users.
That is a standard strat if you're using Valiant Knife in any game. it makes it so much safer. Just 'cause
Well,
it shields you from 10 hits and all the physicals that tier 1 throws out.
right.
Best if you have somebody with really good defense with it. Strago only had like 180, but it's still better him than the B-Blue want to sit in near barrel.
Right. Yeah, well, when you were mentioning that 10 hits specifically, I think Strago was taking, what, 70-something damage from each of those hits?
Yeah, he was
So-
also defending.
Yeah. So that definitely paid out very well for you, so nicely done on that front. What did you think of the seed all in all, outside of your already expressed disdain for the Stooges?
I feel like it's very zoomy seed, but with just some annoyances like floating continent. That was such a pain. Other than that, that was really fast. Viable Valiant Knives with the free Genshi sitting around.
If it's any consolation to you, it doesn't. Two other of our racers here tonight had the exact same wipe in Magimaster and started from that exact same save point.
Yeah, I imagine. It's about the rudest place you can find Magimaster, next to Endgame.
It was a very nasty positioning. No argument there. You had a couple of dicey moments in your final battle. Was there any point where you were worried that you might have to wipe and start over?
Yes, yeah, I miscounted on tier 3. I thought he was further away from dead than he was. I did not mean to trigger calmness. I meant to just get him comfortably in media range.
Yeah, and there was another
Luckily,
moment.
the calmness cooperated.
There was another moment in Tier 2 where you were down to just one character left alive, where it was looking pretty grim as well.
Yeah, that was
So,
Tiger being a pain. Once Tiger was out of the picture, it was secure.
yeah, you did have the silence up after all, but yeah, it was definitely a far more interesting final battle than you'd think when you have a character that can throw out 14,000 damage every turn.
Yeah, it was.
And speaking of trouble with Tier 2, Sausage in a rough spot here. Has his octuple Valiant Knife user zombied. This could end very, very badly.
Oh god. Okay. I'm gonna head out and watch a stream then.
All right. Well,
Yep, here come all the hits. Big hits everywhere. And you get a Valiant Knife to the face, and you get a Valiant Knife to the face. Terra's still alive, though, but Sausage loses 3 party members to Tier 2. It's going to be all Terra all the time if Sausage is going to get this first try.
oof, yipes. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Did want to say, though, doesn't slipped out before we could say GG's and thank you, but GG's doesn't, and thank you for coming in for the interview. We definitely appreciate it, and hope you have a great rest of your evening.
Make sure to follow our Victor Doesn't-y on Twitch, and the other runners as well. Well, Critical HP Terra is going to be able to put out a ton of damage for Sausage here, so the battle is not lost.
It's not lost. It's just very dire straits, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And looks like Sausage, having defeated the girl, is going to summon a Starlet here to heal up the characters. The good thing about finding extra characters late is that they'll at least have some staying power. If they had gear, that is. Selly's just took a 4,000 damage physical. That's no good.
No, not at all.
The good news here for Sausage, though, is that one more of those quad attacks from Terra will finish off Tier 3. And
Looks
we
like
have a slight technological mishap here.
Saber Wolf taking on Hydon and the Hyde Knights, it appears.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Looks like it was a big Merton there for Sausage. Sausage just going to swing right away. This will take it out. But Calmness lands, and that is a wipe.
Ooh. Yeah.
Really, really, really bad luck in Tier 2, getting an octuple Valiant Knife user turned into a zombie. That is that is bad. That is that is a game over scenario.
Yeah, that's about as bad as it gets, really. Oi.
And Sausage making a bit of an equipment mistake there. Took off Terra's offering and replaced it with a pod bracelet when she's already got a marble shoes on. That pod bracelet is not doing anything at all.
Uh-oh.
Really should have kept the offering on there. So it's going to be an exciting finish for second here as Sid's starting off his final battle, just as Sausage is starting his second attempt at the final battle.
Yeah, we're gonna have ourselves some dueling fights. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. But yeah, we are having some technical difficulties with Saberwolf, so apologies. We'll get that back up as soon as we can.
Well, try 2 for Sausage here. Start swinging those Valiant Knives. Sid's going to open up with Big Guard, get some safe and shell going for all of his team.
Yeah, considering how hard Tier 1 likes to hit, yeah, that's definitely an understandable move.
Yeah. And on Sid's side, you can see the new and improved Atma weapon. It's actually viable to use at lower levels now. It's still not great, but it's another option.
Yeah, if you ain't got a good stick, might as well go ahead and use it.
Well, Shadow Sid does have the best stick on Terra at the very least.
That's true.
I think his Terra is a little lower leveled than the rest of the party, though, judging from the hit point totals. Saberwolf, meanwhile, beating up Ultros here. So Saberwolf not too far away from the final battle now as well.
No, it looks like all of our runners have done a pretty fantastic job and are pretty much right on each other's heels here in KT. So it's definitely exciting to see at the finish here.
Yep, we're in for quite the treat for a finish here. Just imagine if any of those nasty situations he got into in the final battle. If he took a wipe, this would be an extremely close 4-way race right now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's the last statue defeated for Saberwolf, so only going to be a couple minutes behind the other two going into the final battle. Sausage, as predicted, did make short work of Tier 1 again, but Tier 2 is where the real danger lies here.
Yeah. Of course, I will say, that being said, the chances of Valiant Knife Sabin getting, well, just got imped. But the chance of him getting zombied again, my goodness, can't be that high. But then again, rando can rando.
Well, if the Tiger decides to use the zombie move, it's 1 in 4 basically.
Yeah.
Because Sabin's not dodging anything dual wielding, that's for sure.
Nah, afraid not.
We've got a confused Strago here now, who's in the middle of casting Doom, so hooray for that. Oh, it re-chose his spell, interestingly enough. Honestly, probably better than Doom and insta-killing one of his members. While we use the dreaded North Cross. Only Terra Frozen, though, so only, well, I guess 2 characters technically uncontrollable now. There's a big Pearl proc for Strago. Hope that snaps him out of it.
You would hope, yes.
Yeah. Oh, this is not going well for Sausage yet again here. Shadow Sid moves on to Tier 2. South Cross beneficial here. That is going to thaw Terra out. looks like Sausage is going to be able to rebuild this time, thankfully. Shadow Sid trying to use Shoat, but Shoat inflicts Petrify, not Death. So that's not going to work on the tools, sadly.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, any port in the storm, I guess, but that port didn't really help anything.
Got the amazing Flying Shadow down on Sausage's side there.
And we had Mirrored Pearl procs. Not quite on the same part of Tier 2, but that was very nice synchronicity there.
It certainly was. Here come the 10 hits, and they are hitting quite hard for Sausage here. They will fuel more Valiant Knife Madness, though, so there's the upside. No one passed away from the 10 hits, so time to stay on the offense or heal up, your choice. Doom is down for Saberwolf, and I believe that was the last boss Saberwolf had to defeat. So Saberwolf will be starting up the final battle momentarily. Sabin goes down to a South Cross for Shadow Sid. See some D-spells coming out for Sausage now. So Magic Part almost finished off here. There's the multi-D spell, so that's it for Tier 2 for Sausage. Got a Flare Star coming out here. Sid in trouble now, has a Petrified Terra, a dead Sabin, and thankfully Doomtusk targeted the one character it couldn't really do anything detrimental to. So it's Tier 3 time now for Sausage, in much, much better shape than last time. Has his chosen party here instead of Terra and just whoever's there.
Yeah, Terra and the Dreams, I suppose.
Yeah. Oh no, apparently a stone character can be zombied, because Terra is a zombie over on Shadow Sid's side. I did not know that. But that's not ideal.
That's peculiar.
Yeah.
Okay, my brain, I think, is leaking out somewhere. Hang on, let me get it back in here.
Okay. Looks like Saberwolf is going to have to fight Hyden again. I guess Saberwolf did not win the battle that we saw when we were experiencing technical difficulties earlier. Shadow Sid's got this looking a lot better now. Terra blocks the Imp spell, so looking pretty healthy here. Just going to spam attacks and health until the physical part's down, and then that's probably when it's time to pick Sabin up and get ready for the next tier. And speaking of the next tier, Tier 3 is down for Sausage, and Sausage has his full party going into Final Kefka, so this one should be a laugher. It really should, with Sabin banging out 5,000 damage hits a turn, as Sausage elected to put a shield on, at least for the earlier parts of the tier of the final battle. Oh, Hyden, don't we all miss the days where you could just throw a Revivify at him and be done with it?
Yeah, those are definitely good days, but unfortunately they are days gone by in this ladder set.
So there's 20,000 damage to Kefka already out of the gate. Another 5,000 from Terra, and it'll be another anywhere between 5 and 10,000 from Shadow. So offense definitely there for Sausage, and Sausage is just going to swing right through. Don't need to heal those characters up. Not even concerned about counters. Unfortunately, Sabin is going to go down. And Kefka, on cue, counters with a hyperdrive to slay Shadow as well. And another hyperdrive counter. But holding A should finish it off from here. He's charging for Goner, and Sabin has 4 extremely powerful swings coming out here. Gonna use an X Potion on Terra for safety, just in case, but this should do it for Kefka. And there it is. Sausage is your second place finisher with an official time of 1:49:30.
GG's to Kilbasiago / Sausage. Has taken leave of an interview this evening. Understandable, definitely, considering that this seed was, in some senses, not for the faint of heart.
Well, in Sausage's case, everything basically went tits up for him an hour in, between the fiasco with the auction house, a few dead checks after getting fed up with that, wiping in the final battle from a zombied, Octo Valiant Knife user, just nothing doing.
Yeah. All right, so on second iteration, we will be joined in chat by Kilbasiago in just a moment after a little bit of time to calm the nerves and such. So we will be getting an interview shortly. In that case, we get to follow Shadow Sid's push through Tier 2, which is looking fairly decent. Looks like Magic is the last one left standing, so should be through that soon enough.
Yeah,
and it looks...
it'll be smooth sailing here for Shadow Sid. Shadow Sid does not have the offense that our other 2 finishers have had, as you can see. And one thing Shadow Sid really needs to do is to give Terra an elixir, because not getting any MP crits right now off of that Illumina. And there you see the downside of using Atma Weapon. If you lose health, the damage on it goes way, way down. Haydn finally defeated for Saberwolf. And Saberwolf will be off to the final battle. Can Saberwolf catch up to Shadow Sid here? We'll just have to wait and see.
And we are joined in chat by our second place finisher, Kilbasiago. GG.
Heyo, GG.
So, zombified Valiant Knife user.
Yeah, apparently that's bad. Auction house, also a little bad. Bad luck. There's a few things that went wrong.
One thing we did want to let you know about the auction house, though, is that you should. It's much better to do it in the World of Ruin, because the extra items you buy actually come out of the pool there.
Okay, I didn't know that. I was wondering if I was doing something wrong, because I almost never do auction house.
That's why you're able to buy more than one offering there.
Okay.
Which, in your successful final battle, you made a very curious decision beforehand. You gave Terra a pod bracelet instead of the offering on there.
Yep.
And she already had Marble Shoes on. That pod bracelet wasn't doing anything.
Oh, whatever. I just didn't want the offering on her.
Okay.
I just wanted some targeted DPS.
Understandable. Yeah, not being able to target in the final battle can
At that
be
point,
a problem.
I was on full tilt. So
I can imagine from how long you spent at the auction house, the 3 dead checks after that,
yeah.
Wiping to extremely bad luck with that zombie on Savin.
Yeah. I think Strago cast like 7 or 8 dooms before he actually killed something with it.
Yeah, we saw that as well. It was a rough go.
Yeah. Whatever. Sub 2. It's good enough.
I
think I would have got like around dozens time if, a little bit of luck was on my side.
I absolutely agree with you there. Honestly, you could have slightly finished ahead of dozens time. Assuming you got the luck in the auction house, you would have been in Kefka's tower only a couple minutes behind. And you had much more offensive output than Dozen did with your multiple offerings.
Yeah, I think the one thing I wish I didn't do is bring 2 offerings the first time. That might have changed things a lot, because I was like scared to attack from the AoE damage. But oh well.
When you're pumping out that much damage, sometimes fortune favors the bold. But in that situation, I guess it unfortunately didn't, since Sabin decided he didn't like everyone else on the team.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, it was fun.
No, I will say that given if some of the things that had happened in your seed happened in any seed that I'd played, I'm not sure I would have finished. So it's definitely GG to you. Good job on sticking it out even in spite of all that nonsense.
Oh yeah, if this is just an async, I would have forfeited like a half hour ago.
Well, we're glad that you saw it through. It ended up being a pretty interesting finish. Everyone's been having a lot of difficulty with the final battle tonight, truthfully, as Shadow Sid just wiped to tier 3, so it's starting the final battle over for him, and now Saberwolf has a slight lead over Shadow Sid.
Yeah, this final Kefka has been very unkind.
Yeah, absolutely, Karant. I don't think I've ever seen all 4 racers in a restream struggle this badly on the final boss.
All right, I'm gonna get out of here. See you guys. GG's.
Hey, thanks for joining us, Sausage. Hope you have a little bit better luck in the ladder next week.
Thanks. Happy Thursday.
No, have a good night. All right, well, that was Kill Boss Iago, our second place finisher this evening. So definitely GG's, and congratulations on putting up with all that nonsense and still making it out the other side.
Yep, and now we'll have a pretty tight battle here for third place now, between Shadow Sid and Saberwolf.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say I'd be curious to see who does come out on top in this, because obviously Saberwolf had that little bit of an advantage because of Sid's wipe, but it looks like Sid is making up for that fairly quickly. So, yeah, I think we maybe have probably about a minute's difference between the two.
Yeah, at most, it's very close right now. You can see those fireballs raining down from the heavens. It's going to be Saberwolf who finishes off tier 1 first. Big dog block there. It's going to help Shadow Sid out here. Looks like Sid just has the 2 arms to contend with.
Yep. Interceptor, best doggy. Alright, chat asking if anybody else used fixed dice. The only thing I have seen fixed dice being used for so far is money. I think we saw that on Kilboss Iago's side, if I remember correctly.
If there were fixed dice found, I either didn't notice or my brain was just so full of rage that I deleted that memory from existence.
I only saw it for about a second or so as it was being handed over to the shopkeep for a ridiculous sum of money.
Saberwolf making rare use of the haste spell. Haste not particularly great in this game. And then a confused Strago is going to heal tier 2 a little bit. What a thoughtful gentleman.
He's like Rubicante in FF4. Heals all the player characters before you fight him because he's just that much of a swell guy.
Saberwolf looks like jumping with the stunner. And yeah, both of our racers don't have particularly elite offensive output here, so we're in for a marathon final battle here. Ribbon pays off. Saberwolf's Terra evades being stoned. Shadow Sid now on to tier 2 as well. That grain train is pulling its weight here against 4 targets, dealing 8,000 damage combined to all 4. So that will help things out quite a bit here for Saberwolf.
Oh yes, definitely, and especially considering how many different things that these 4 like to do. You want to try to set them down as soon as possible just to mitigate some of those nasty side effects.
Yeah, absolutely. And Shadow Sid's looking around in his magic inventory. Does have stop. You could always stop the physical part. It's going to try that Shoat spell, Shoat spell again here, which, as we mentioned, does not work because stone does not work on tools. Death only.
And it doesn't seem like death is working very well for Saberwolf, sadly.
Saberwolf gets off an X zone, so tools gone for Saberwolf. That is 1 part down on the right side. Shadow Sid throwing up Kieran, putting on some regain. Shadow Sid making solid use of that Ice 3 spell. That is the weakness of the Tiger part. Comes another Delta attack. Shadow Sid does not have a Ribbon on Terra, so that is just another thing that Sid's going to have to contend with here. And Saberwolf is focusing on bringing the magic part down first here in tier 2. That's perhaps not the wisest decision. While magic can be a little bit dangerous, Tiger is far, far more of a threat in this fight.
Yeah, I've always heard it recommended when you're fighting tier 2, get rid of tools first, preferably by instant death, and then go after Tiger, because Tiger has a lot of those hard-hitting magic, the powerful magic attacks, if I remember correctly.
Well, Tiger's all about status effects. North Cross and Doom Tusk, those are awful, awful moves.
Okay. Yeah, that definitely undergirds why you want to take Tiger out.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for that mess.
Exactly. And then the tools uses all those strong Magitech moves. So you have like your diffusers, your shrapnels, atomic rays. Basically, the physical part is absolutely the least threatening on this tier. Or magic if you have access to mute, then it can't do anything at all. So, Tiger is down for Sid now. So Sid with a bit of an advantage here over Saberwolf in tier 2. Sid pounding away with Atma Weapon and Illumina. Using some Fire 3 from Savin. So Sid definitely wanting targeted damage here over just spamming Grand Train. tier 2 slow going when you can only hit for about 2,000 damage in attack.
Yeah, this tier 2 is very much outlining the advantage that those Valiant Knives gave for, particularly for Doesn't.
Yeah, Dozen and Sausage were getting huge damage out of those, absolutely. I mean, Shadow Sid does have an Illumina. I think the main problem is that his Terra is lagging behind in levels compared to the other characters.
Yeah, so it's definitely, oh boy, I mean, we've said it before, but this final Kefka, holy cow.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, magic is down for Saberwolf now, so time to get to work on Tiger there. Oh, it actually looks like Tools is still alive on Shadow Sid's side.
Yeah, I noticed that a little bit earlier because I
Yeah.
saw that diffuser go off and I'm going, oh dear.
Yeah. 2 freezes from a Northern Cross for Saberwolf. Does have access to that Fire 2 spell, though, so can at least cancel it out.
Wow, Shadow down to minimal HP and still gets that jump off, fortunately.
We've got a zombied Sabin over on Saberwolf's side.
But that's a
Luckily, that Sabin is not wielding 8 Valiant Knives.
yeah. I was gonna say same character but very different result.
Yeah, and Saber going to try to cure that with a remedy, but unfortunately, it's only Revivifies that can remove zombie. So let's hope that there's one sitting in Saber's inventory. Doesn't look like it. So
Oh, no.
Saber's down a character here. Again, the danger whenever you let Tiger live too long in this final battle.
Yeah.
And
What?
to make matters kind of sketchy, that Sabin is throwing around a Wing Edge which can proc deaths,
Oh dear.
which is not good whenever he uses it
No.
on your own party.
No, not particularly. So yeah, tier 2 giving both of our runners the business tonight. I think it's going to be a comfort to both of them once they get through this, hoping that tier 3 or final Kefka issues don't rear their ugly heads again.
Here come the 10 hits for Saberwolf. Not hitting particularly hard, just a couple hundred damage per swing there. So easily tankable, and Saberwolf is gonna, after a bit of labor there, move on to tier 3.
Well, that zombified Sabin doing one last service for the party, taking a couple of those 10 hits.
He shall be missed.
Yep, sorry, Sabin. Instead, we get a Yeti! And Merton, which does very unkind things to Saberwolf's party. Oi.
That is a disaster.
Oh, yes. Oh, my
Time for
goodness.
Saberwolf to rebuild this. Shadow Sid's starting to plug away at tools now on tier 2.
Oh, no. Drago gets revived and then immediately put to sleep.
Well, better him than Terra. Terra's the one that might be able to survive a hit here, and for sure can survive Merton with that Minerva on.
Right.
Saberwolf's going to try to start getting rid of the girl here with some jumps from Shadow. At 2,000 a shot, it is going to take a little bit of effort to do it. Really need to... But I think that might be the only real option Saberwolf has to damage the girl. With Sabin gone, there's no more Grand Trains everywhere. And it's going to be Tier 3 now for Shadow Sid. Shadow Sid has the entire party intact and in good health.
Yeah, so even though Saberwolf came in probably about 30 seconds to a minute ahead, Shadow Sid, I have a feeling, is probably going to make that time up on this tier. Just from the sheer ability to be able to deal out damage a lot faster.
Yeah, it looks like Saberwolf is hoping that girls absorb all elements just mysteriously evaporated, but no dice. Now we've got a condemned Terra, and it's looking pretty bad, and that is a reset for Saberwolf.
Yep, and unfortunately Saberwolf has decided to go ahead and forfeit from the race, which, given how bad this Kefka tier is, understandable, definitely. So
Absolutely. You know, usually when you see Valiant Knives and Genji Gloves and offerings sitting everywhere, you think you're going to have a pretty easy time of it, but FF6 can absolutely be no slouch with some of its boss encounters, as we saw tonight. Everyone having difficulty in this final battle, and everyone, minus Sausage, only because he didn't go there, getting obliterated by the Magimaster. Well, Girl is down for Shadow Sid. So it's now just the long process of whittling out the hit points of Sleep, and with any luck you've got a Golem, which Shadow Sid does, so that will at least protect against Calmness when that goes off. Just have to wear it down, and hopefully your heals can keep up with the Space Rocks, because at 2,000 a swing, you are going to see some.
yeah, absolutely. I know it's always a scary moment for me in this Tier 3 fight whenever he decides to go into Mateo mode. Because unlike other Final Fantasies, FF4, Mateo, when used against you, hits hard and does lots of bad things.
The one saving grace is that the accuracy on the move isn't 100%, so it can miss, and it will miss often if you have a character with decent magic evasion.
Yeah, that, like you said, the one saving grace, because that has, in previous fights for me, very much worked out in almost miraculous fashion at times, but it's definitely nothing to count on, and it's definitely not fun to have that be your last resort, if you will.
Well, here come the Space Rocks. So at least when it's one target, the damage does pile up a little bit quicker here. And there's the Calmness.
And there's Golem doing work.
Yeah, so Shadow Sid on to Tier 4 now. Again, probably going to see a goner or two, so going to have to play defensively in the latter half of the fight. But it's definitely winnable. All four of your good characters are up there and in reasonable health. I mean, you got a Megalixir sitting in inventory. You know that's going to come out. I mean, no Valiant Knives means no reason not to heal your team here.
Yeah, I think Sid's got this. Just like you said, it's going to be a little bit slower just because of the damage that is or isn't in play, and it'll be interesting to see if Sid can pull this off. So definitely rooting for him here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, Sid already suffered a wipe to the final battle. Don't want to see another one here.
No, definitely not.
just pelting him with a hail of level 3 spells here now.
Well, I mean, if you're going to be doing some damage, that's a decent way to do it if you don't have anything else.
Well, on 3 of his characters, it probably is the best option. Grand Train, because it actually doesn't ignore split damage, would be better here in this situation for Sabin. Well, Kefka's in counterattack mode. We just saw that hyperdrive come out, and we've got 2 dead characters. 3 dead characters, I misspoke, and now Sid's going to have to rebuild during a Goner charge. This is not looking good. That big swing will help, but it's going to take a few more of those to put him down. I think Sid still has shell status on Terra, so she should survive this.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
Scary moments here. I mean, the dreaded double Havoc Wing is a possibility on Kefka's next turn. He elects to use Train, which in this case is probably the best thing that could have happened, because that gives him a chance to get some of his characters back up here. Running low on Phoenix Downs, though. Only 1 left in inventory for Sid. Hopefully one of those characters has a life spell. Here comes Revenger. So that'll clear... Oh, no! And then...
Oh, no. Oh.
And it's another wipe for Shadow Sid.
My goodness, this, oh my heavens, this has been just, holy cow. I've kind of run out of words to really describe this. This is just insane.
Yep. That was nasty. Sid getting a little too antsy on the attacks there, and Kefka countered everything as soon as he was in that range. Knocked 3 of his characters down, and from there it's really hard to recover.
So Sid, considering options going forward, definitely understandable considering just how utterly rough this has been.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Sid is going to head out of the tower and presumably battle some dragons for experience.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, you don't want to find yourself in that situation, but the saving grace of it is when you go back in, everything that you killed is still dead, so at least you don't have to worry about refighting anything in the tower proper.
Yeah, absolutely. Sid does have an experience egg. The smart choice here would be to put it on Terra for sure. She's got that Illumina, and she will outdamage everyone else in the party right now.
Right.
The other option is to go shopping and find those juicy Valiant knives.
Yeah, there's definitely options out there. It's just a matter of trying to find them fairly quickly, and Sid choosing to go after dragons I think is a pretty good move to try to get a little bit more viability in this party.
It's going to be a white Durgan here for Shadow Sid. Good news is that'll give Shadow a Pearl Lance to play around with whenever Sid elects to tackle the final battle again.
Getting a Pearl proc on a Pearl Dragon is not the best thing in the history of ever, but it's...
No, definitely not. And swinging with an Excalibur not going to help either.
No. It's, boy. It's one of those things that, when you're using a Pearl-type weapon, or a weapon that can obviously have Pearl properties, this is one of the bosses that you don't want to see it used against, and the other one is Girl in Tier 3, because, well, she'll absorb that as well as pretty much everything else.
There's a couple other bosses that absorb Holy. Goddess and Rexol are the other 2 big ones that come to mind.
Okay, yeah. But Sid adapting by going ahead and switching Terra into Rage mode and starting to employ some of those level 3 spells. So I think this should turn out fine. Just needed a little bit of strategy adjustment, and there you go. Down goes the Durgan.
Yeah, Durgans aren't going to be a problem for Shadow Sid at this point, so definitely good targets to go after to pick up some experience and some nice items. Well, there's a nice shield. That's 10,000 damage in the final battle.
Mm-hmm. All right, so next up on the Dragon Hunt, we are going to Frosty Narsh, home of, well, a dragon yet to be disclosed.
It was the Dirt Dragon, and
That's
the
right.
other Paralance.
Oh, choosing to go over to Fanatics Tower. Well, you got pretty good magic, so I think this is definitely doable. So Yakko asking, what did they miss? Well, Final Kefka, or the Kefka fight has been unkind to everyone. So Sid has left the tower and is going after some dragons to get some levels to try to mitigate that difference.
Yeah, so a couple of quick pickups, treasure chests here in the Fanatics Tower, and there is a Durgan on the way. And, well, with Strago in tow, you could always roll the dice for some good items. I mean, there's going to be one in the chest at the top. You'll have to fight a boss. But there might be another good item whenever you go down. Or another Esper. Who knows?
Right.
It's a Skull Dragon, and we know that Sid is packing some fire spells here, so should not be a difficult battle by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, unfortunately, Saber had to forfeit. Was having a really rough time of that Kefka fight as well.
There's a big fire 3 on the Skull Durgan, 8,000 damage. Another one of those ought to finish it off.
Or a 3,000 damage fire too. That'll work also.
Yeah, but it's just not as flashy.
Well, substance over style sometimes, I guess. Especially once you've had this rough of a ride through the seed.
Yeah, definitely. Well, there's yet another Genji glove for Shadow Sid. Muscle belt accessory, I mean, gives you plus 50% max hit points. It's definitely one of the better ones.
Yep. Which would, well, if Sid had been able to find those Valiant knives, would make it even better, but definitely good just on its own.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah. Well, let's see where the Dragon World Tour takes us next.
It takes us to a place where there are no dragons. Albrook. definitely picking up those Revivify is definitely good considering what we have seen already. Boy.
Well, checking chops is never a bad idea to boost yourself in power somehow. Never know what you find.
Right.
And it's heavily skewed that really good items will only be in 1 or 2 shops throughout the seed. I mean, we know the place to shop here is World of Balance to Zen, since it's got flame shields, experience eggs, valiant knives. But of course, Shadow Sid does not know that.
All right, so now that Saberwolf has had a moment, we are now joined in chat by Saberwolf. GG Saberwolf, and we humbly apologize on behalf of the entire planet for that Kefka fight.
Oh my god. That wasting all those Revivifies on Setzer to not kill Terra again, like blowing all those, not being able to bring back Sabin, who was my only carry of the whole, was scary for everybody, I'm assuming, because of the Grand Train and all. But losing him completely, and then Merton in the face right at the beginning, back in Tier 3, I was like, okay, that's it.
Yeah, understandable. The final battle was extremely rude to everyone this go around. Shadow Sid right now actually left the tower to fight a few dragons to go back in and try again.
Yeah, I would have had to do the same thing, I think. I forgot about leaving the experience egg on Shadows for so long. I should have moved it around more and other people got more levels on them. And for some reason, I don't know how I didn't have Strago learn Fire 3. For some reason, I thought I had him learn it when I went in. I'm like, wait a minute, why doesn't he have Fire 3? So I'm like, oh crap. So now I lost another kind of damage dealer there. So yeah,
there was a lot of damage available on this seed. Just unfortunately, you didn't manage to find any of the really primo weapons that were available. There were Valiant Knives in World of Balance to Zen, which both Dozeny and Sausage made use of tonight.
No.
I'm told from people who had already done their run earlier this week that there were Ragnaroks in one of the shops in World of Ruin. There was an Illumina as a reward from the Umaro spot, so there were some good weapons there.
Wow.
But despite what we've seen in terms of good weapons, everyone had an absolutely awful time with Kefka tonight.
Yeah, and also, Kefka. Yeah, the Kefka, when I went to the Kefka fight at Narsh and meeting Atmoweb, I was like, really? Really? I climbed all the way up here just for that?
Yeah, we saw that reset right away.
Well, I'm like, Terra, I get to do welcome. Like, you know what? I'm in Narsh. Let me just run up the hill and see what happens. Then, yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, pretty much. And then most of our racers tonight ran afoul of Magimaster at the end of the Floating Continent like you did. So you weren't the only one that had to walk all the way back from that first save point just to hop on the airship and not even bother fighting Spicy again. So
no, yeah, Spicy was bad enough, and then you run into, and that is like the worst possible place. If anybody has never done this game before, that is by far the worst possible place you could put Magimaster in a seed. And just running face first into that. And I don't know if I went earlier than other people in the island. I felt like I went early on the island. Just because I felt like I was falling behind and wanted to play catch up and see how many Espers I could get in a row. And just, yeah, like everybody, just running fast face first into that. I'm like, okay, yeah. That actually kind of, I will be honest, that kind of tilted me a little bit. Because I remember, just going, okay. And I lost my direction for a bit on the island there for a minute until I could focus again and keep on going. But because I was like, you know what? Everybody probably ran into this because everybody's going to do this shadow check. Because you know what? Just calm down. Everybody's going to run to Magimaster and probably fail. So just keep going. So.
Yeah, and you know that's the right mindset to have in a situation like that, because you know if something nasty happens to you, everyone else is playing the same seed. They're going to have to deal with it too.
Yep.
So, any thoughts on the ladder format overall while we've got you here?
Well, I've tried this ladder twice. I love the ladder idea and everything. I think I'm just gonna stick to commentary for now, because having done this twice and knowing I get about almost 3 minutes apiece, I should probably stick to commentary.
Well, you're more than welcome to join me in the booth anytime.
All right.
Anything else for us before we let you go here?
I guess since Sid's still running, good luck to him. I was in the same boat where I would have had to lift the tower and start over. I didn't, and I was already at like 2 hours and 15 minutes or something like that in. And I was like, I don't really want to make people like wait around for another 45 minutes trying to get a couple more levels that I know I needed,
Yeah.
and then try again. And I was like, I'm just gonna.
Well, it's a 3-hour time slot. You could have gone right ahead if you wanted to, but I can totally understand the forfeit with how nasty this seed was to pretty much everyone here tonight.
Yeah, like I said, not. And the other thing I wished I knew about was I always do this. Like every time I do a run, like an official run like this, I always forget to go to the returner's place. And this time it was the golden hairpin, which would have helped so much on Sabin because Grand Train costs so much to use, and that carries you for the majority of the early game. And just if I found that early on, I could have used it way more often, not have to wait to blow a bunch of ethers to reuse it again. Like that was another thing that would have been helpful.
Yeah, there's an argument to be made for it there. I mean, either you put it on and use half magic, or you sell it and buy ethers to fill your magic. I mean, it's kind of an either or thing. I mean, personally, I'd rather use ethers and have a damage booster on, but your mileage may and will vary. I mean, with how expensive Grand Train is, like it would have been nice to use it at, say, level 6 or 7 instead of having to get into the teens to be able to afford it for sure.
I mean, I don't get me wrong. Like the seed had a lot of gifts to it. Like between Terror being like one of the first people you got, and having a lot of good checks for her to do, like with the whole Esper Cave and all, getting a lot more items, and getting Grand Train as a starting lore, and having a character have jump right off the bat. I mean, there's a lot of gifts at the beginning of the thing, and it's just there's a lot of
then the
little
boss
hidden things.
placement comes into play, and honestly, outside of a couple Minervas, there wasn't really that much good defensive gear, and that really showed in the final battle for everyone tonight.
Yeah, I saw that Minerva on train, and it was like, do I really want to run across the whole train just for one Minerva? And I was like, nah. And then I found the other Minerva in the Coliseum. Of all the things to do,
Yeah.
banish Doom. Really?
Yeah, that was something.
Oh.
You were actually the only racer tonight that went and looked at the Coliseum, but I mean, it was just a leather hat. Half the characters come with one of those, so
Exactly. And I was like, oh, leather hat for that. That's not bad. And I thought, ooh, that's not the greatest monster to fight. And I was like,
yeah.
I basically, I was ready for Kefka. I was like, you know what? Let me check here because I really didn't have enough like armor. There was like no real good shields either. I had like one Aegis shield, and I think I might have had a force armor, and that was like in the Genji helmets, and that was it. So I was like, you know what? Let me just take a peek at the Coliseum. There's a lot of things that are available to be looked at. Saw that. It's like, yeah, I'll give it a try. One try. Nope, don't get it. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah. Well, you put on. Yeah, I'll tell you right now. Everyone watching definitely enjoyed the carnage in everyone's final battle. Everyone was rooting for someone to get through without basically wiping or near wiping. So. Yeah, you weren't the only one tonight, but thanks for being part of the restream, and maybe we'll see you in the booth with me in the near future.
Yep, definitely gonna stay in the booth for a bit. Maybe I'll do like a fun. Maybe if we do like funsy streams, like bingo night or something, I'll do that. But yeah, I'm gonna stick in the booth for the for the ladders here.
All right. Well, you have yourself a great night.
Good night, guys. Enjoy, and good luck to Sid. Keep on trucking, buddy.
And speaking of trucking, Sid has trucked all the way back to Final Kefka, quickly renaming Terra LOLOL. And levels looking much nicer now, all basically in the low 40s. So the difference in damage that Sid will put out will be magnified incredibly here.
Yeah. Sid not only taking dragon fights, but also was taking encounters with the party of 4 while going through Kefka's Tower. So that, of course, helped as well. So, yeah, I think this fight will go a lot better, and hopefully we'll see Sid come out the other side this time.
Yeah. Well, he has one character that is going to be extremely difficult to damage. Terra sitting there with an Aegis shield and Illumina, and then a set of Genji equipment to go along with it. Just a matter of deciding how he wants to spread the damage out. I mean, Terra's going to be swinging that Illumina like a mad woman, but what are the other characters going to do here? Sid is electing to put the muscle belt on Shadow. It's not a terrible choice. I mean, I know Shadow's using that Atma weapon there, so that will at least nerf the damage penalty since it's based entirely on percentage. And I mean, Sabin's still got that Grand Train, so the offense is there.
Right.
It'll just be a matter of Setzer stepping onto the final button, and then it'll be round 3 final Kefka for Sid.
I will say, I had been thinking in terms of this ladder structure, I had been thinking about doing the ladder myself. I'm not entirely sure what this seat is doing to that inclination, to be honest.
Well, the ladder, it's taking place over 12 weeks, 1 race a week. You only need to enter and finish 9 of the races to qualify for the placement at the end. And I believe at the end there is a set of battle royale races where top 2 advance until we have just one lone winner of the ladder.
Yeah, well, I might have to look into it then. I've never done a ladder style event before, so it would be interesting. And I know, what you were mentioning about it being open for people. It's definitely the case for everybody in the community. So if folks haven't joined it yet, feel free to do so. I think when I was looking at some stats on it earlier, I think there were 30 entrants into that first week. So I think that will increase a little bit as new people come in for later weeks. And
well,
you said,
yeah, and this is the first restreamed race of the ladder event. So
right.
So there's probably a few people that don't check the Discord quite as religiously that may just be going, oh, there's an event going on. I hope it's not too late to sign up, and the good news is it is not. All you have to do is just join the ladder race as it happens every week. It's async, do it on your own time, or volunteer to be part of the weekly restream. As long as you complete 9 races, you qualify.
Yep. So if anybody wants to participate, come on in. I will consider it myself. I've got some other stuff going on right now, but I will maybe join in myself. And I would presume that after the end of the 3rd week, when new people, well, presumably would not be qualified for the rankings, people can still join, I would expect, but they just wouldn't be in contention for any sort of playoffs.
Oh yeah, there's nothing stopping you from joining any race that you want for this one. It's not a bracket event, so you can hop in, hop out anytime you want. If you're just looking for some racing fun, that's perfectly fine. Do 1 or 2. That is completely cool.
So you can subject yourself to as much or as little insanity as you'd like.
Well, special seeds like this one don't come along terribly often.
Well, you say that, and we have yet to see what the other 10 weeks of ladder have in store for us, so you might just be dooming us to 12 weeks of insanity. It's
Hey,
possible.
I mean, it can't be Rav rolling the bad seeds all the time, right?
True.
Well, Tier 1 is down for Shadow Sid. As you saw already, massive improvement in offense already.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
That tier 1 went
instead
down
of-
real fast.
For Illumina, instead of swinging 2k and maybe procking 3.5, you're swinging 4.5k, procking about 7,000. You know, Shadow's Atma weapons hitting a little bit harder. Probably would be better off using the Pearl Lance on the Nat jump there, but you know, it's working. Got some Fire 3s to toss around with the other characters, Grand Trains. It's just a matter of avoiding the bad stuff at this point. Sid definitely has the offense to get it done now.
Right, yeah. And of course, the status effects on this tier 2 were what were causing a lot of the problems earlier. So yeah, like you said, hopefully Sid will be able to get through those, and then, well, I think everybody will be resting a little bit easier once Sid is able to come out on top in this one, because it has been quite the battle for all 4 runners, but certainly for Sid having to come out and then come back into Kefka's Tower.
Yeah, absolutely. Sabin goes down from a flare start. But luckily, good old Item Man Strago's there to save the day. Lots of healing available, plenty of X potions, elixirs, and that Mega Elixir still in inventory. There's a nice block. No Doom Tusk for Shadow Sid. Sabin putting that shield up like a champ.
Good, good. I mean, we've seen the perils of zombified Sabin quite enough this seed, I think.
I think every racer has had a zombied Sabin at some point in tier 2 tonight.
I wouldn't be surprised if it had been all 4, yeah.
Yeah, sausages, of course, being the most memorable with the Sabin killing the entire party.
Yeah.
Well, Tiger's down for Shadow Sid, so that's the most dangerous part of tier 2 removed. And not long after, Hit is down here as well. Here come the 10 hits. 10 slaps, as it were, because they're not doing a whole lot of damage.
No. That's another way those levels are definitely coming in play here.
Well, levels don't affect your defensive stat at all, but the extra
Okay.
hit points certainly help.
Yeah.
Yeah, levels in this game give you more hit points, magic points, and higher multipliers on all of your damage. It is the most important stat in this game, bar none. There's an irritating reflect put up by the magic part. Good thing that most of Sid's damage is coming from the 2 fighters of the team. Here comes a slow spell. Slow actually does have a noticeable impact on your character's speed in this game, unlike haste.
Yeah, you can see it creeping across those ATB meters, unfortunately. It's... ugh. Tier 2 already being rough, just got a teensy bit rougher.
It's more of an inconvenience than a straight up danger.
Yeah.
Sabin eats a quarter. And here's another quarter, this time a counterattack. Is the magic part dead? Or, well, it's following up with Dispel, so this is usually its I'm dead routine. No, it's got a little bit left in there. A little bit left in the tank.
Ooh.
That's a dead Sabin.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. Sid playing very defensively here.
Yeah, that's definitely understandable given. I mean, higher levels obviously will help.
At this point, you just want to finish the seed. You don't want to
Yeah.
have to do the final battle again, so it's totally understandable.
Right, yeah. Definitely focus on getting through at this point. Alright, so double Dispel hopefully means that, yep, magic is down and so goes Tier 2.
So we're off to Tier 3 now for Shadow Sid. Keep on the offensive and take it down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if Girl can go down quickly, I think Shadow Sid will be able to get that taken care of quickly, but we shall see. West Wind is not exactly the greatest thing in the world to start out, but fortunately just hit Sabin.
It's pronounced wind.
Huh, okay, cool. Wind, West Wind, Whirlwind, whatever wind.
Well, there goes the amazing flying shadow. That'll deal about half of Girl's HP right there.
Yep, soon to be coming to a circus stop near you. Or near her, I suppose. Oh, we get the other calmness coming out, the sleepy calmness.
Oh, you can't stop this train from rolling on and on and on.
Alright, so looks like Girl is down, presumably, because Shadow fell on the other head. So yeah, Girl is down, so that will make things at least a little bit easier, assuming that we can get some damage up and Golem comes up, so there's calmness protection.
Yep. Curious that Sid's using his strongest character to heal the party. I'd be swinging away with that Illumina. I don't want this guy around any longer than it needs to be.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, as we mentioned earlier, Sid is definitely playing defensively, wanting to make sure that all the characters stay upright, which is understandable.
Yeah, definitely. Just, I mean, why Cure 2? Why not some of those X potions and elixirs clogging up the inventory? I mean, they're not going to be of any use after this.
Yeah, fair.
But Tier 3 is down after a big Pearl proc. And party in tip-top shape going into Final Kefka.
Yep, I think Sid's got this one. Obviously...
I certainly think so as well.
Yeah.
His Shadow has 5,500 hit points. It would take a really nasty string of Kefka counterattacks for him to lose this battle.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I don't like to sort of, put it in the bag just yet, but Sid definitely came out of that tier 3 in much better shape than in the other attempts. Ooh, got a Pearl Proc off that first time. That will definitely help.
That will sting.
Alright, so it's able to get the party back up with that Mega Elixir. And let's see, with this Fire 3 has done probably about 20,000 damage so far.
Another big jump from Shadow. Big swing from Terra.
So I think about halfway through Kefka's HP at this point. I believe 34,000 or so, if I'm doing my counting correctly.
Yeah, it's firmly in counter territory now, so might be wise to hold on the offense just a bit until he starts charging for Goner, but Sid's just going to swing right through it. He just wants this to be over.
Yeah. Oh, I understand, definitely.
Well, here comes the Goner charge. There's still plenty of damage left in the tank for Sid here. We might not even see a Goner come out here. That's gonna do it. Sid has persevered and has finished the seed in a time of 2 hours, 51 minutes, and 12 seconds. GG, Shadow Sid.
Yeah, definitely GG's for putting up with all of that nonsense. All the runners have gone through it, but oh boy. So definitely much love to all of our runners for being a part of this tonight. And I'm going to go ahead and pull Sid into the interview room so we can have a quick chat before everything closes out tonight. And so we are now joined by Sid. GG, Sid. Uh-oh. Got some slight technical problems on Sid's end, so hopefully we'll get those corrected quickly and then be able to speak and talk about this seed.
There we go. Sorry, I couldn't hear for a sec. I can hear now.
No worries. GG, Sid.
Thank you.
So, so do you want to throw this seed into a dumpster fire or sit it directly in front of a 10 megaton nuclear charge?
No, I mean, it wasn't that bad. It gave me the shot to like show off that dragons make you more powerful, I guess.
Yeah, there's that. Well, that last Kefka run was everybody ran up against that brick wall at least to some degree. So definitely, definitely props getting through it.
I was kind of following an eyeball into the race chat. And, I don't know, when I entered Kefka's Tower, maybe like 120 or something the first time. Yeah, over an hour ago. And I was like, wow, there's no dot duns yet. 130 coming around, like no duns. Like this is hard. Like some people are hitting a brick wall. Like what's going on? Because
Yeah,
outside of the intro, there
it
wasn't
was
a whole lot
nasty.
to stop me. That Magimaster on a floating continent. Oh,
Yeah, that was also a brick wall into which most of our runners ran. I think 3 out of the 4 hit Magimaster right in the face.
so I was gonna reset out of that, but I remembered that there was one seed that I had played weeks ago where I had Doomgaze there. I couldn't kill him in time. And when the timer ran out, it still let me off the island. I don't know if that was because of a Doomgaze specific property or what, but I was going for it, and I had 7 seconds left before he just murdered me.
The timer in Worlds Collide for that section, as long as you get to the boss fight before it runs out, you can get off safely. And that's by design because some boss fights can take quite a while.
Gotcha. Well, that's what I was banking on, and that 7 seconds really that hurt. That hurt a lot.
Yeah, unfortunately though, I don't think it was going to work. You were doing maybe 30 damage a hit to Magimaster at that point, and yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to kill him. I was just waiting for that timer to run out. I thought, is 5 minutes better than running through Floating Continent again? Like, if I can survive this 5 minutes or whatever was left by then, like 4 or something. But it didn't work out either way, and it just cost time. Not nearly as much time as Kefka's Tower. Did you see the quad on tier 2 where it just shot me with 2 damage spells, killed 2 of my people, and then did the dispels and moved on?
Yeah, that was pretty nasty.
Like, what? I didn't know you could do that.
So what do you think of the ladder format so far, Sid?
I like it. I'm enjoying it, and my practice seeds have been going pretty well. Usually around like the 140s, 150s. Not nearly this, but I like the 610, kind of a little bit faster and a little bit of incentive to go to the Coliseum, although I didn't, just because there's something there that you can find.
Most of our racers tonight didn't go to the Coliseum at all. Saberwolf checked it late. Of note, you could trade a leather hat for a Minerva, but you had to fight a veteran, so it was by no means free.
Gotcha. Well, that's good to know. I found an Illumina somewhere off the beaten path.
Yeah, that was from the Umaro spot, and you were the only racer to pick up that Illumina. And in your winning fight there, it was doing just tons and tons of damage for you.
Yeah, I mean, clearly based on time, that didn't didn't help a whole lot. Like, I should have gone and killed some dragons. I was clearly underleveled. I think I was 33 to 35 going in. I knew it was going to be rough, and I just went for it anyway.
It really showed in the first couple battles you had where your damage was capping out at about 2,000 per strike. Like, what a world of difference those levels made, because you just flew right through the final battle with minimal issue that final time.
Yeah, goes to show if you're struggling or you think you're behind going into KT, just knock out some dragons real quick.
Any
Well,
final
that's just
thoughts while we have you here?
no. I mean, I enjoy the stream. I'm kind of sad that Saber forfeited. He must have been having some rough time.
He had an especially nasty final battle and decided enough was enough.
Yeah, I get it. I know. I had fun. Like, I don't only think it's the seed. Clearly, I was renamed my Terra to LOLOL. So,
Just a little last minute fun, eh?
yeah, it's a thing.
Well, thanks for joining us and being part of the restream, Shadow Sid. Have yourself a great night and good luck next week.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Y'all have a good time.
And to all you folks still watching here, this is about to do it for us here tonight on Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. Once again, I am Jackamus Wedge. I was joined tonight by Currant. And stick around. We'll be rating Mr. Entity, who's doing a 4-job Fiesta run. So,
For charity.
for that, for charity, yeah. And I hear he has prizes to give away if you make a charitable donation.
So
All right,
definitely.
Kara, you wrap this thing up and take us out of here.
Alrighty. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight on FF6 Worlds Collide. It was a great seed, and definitely much props to our runners and everybody who helped us out on stream. Thank you all for sticking with us. Have a great rest of your night, and let's all go show some love to Mr. Entity, shall we?